Morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, welcome. We're going to be getting started with some World Championship soon. Just a last minute switcheroo here, but quick, I want to thank all of our sponsors, of course. Quick reminder, this is a crowdfunded tournament. You can find a link down in the description below to donate prize money for that. And yeah, it's a big thanks to all of these people here. Of course, big thanks to all the organizers as well, Moors, and the rest of the team of referees. We are just going to be getting started shortly here. Let me just quickly get some things adjusted. But welcome. Yeah, good to see you all. Will be a good stream today. I know some people will probably be watching this back after the fact, so welcome to you as well, of course. Yeah, got some great competitors lined up today. Honestly, I'm pretty excited the way this tournament has shaped out. It's been pretty interesting. Okay. Just switching a few things here with my little setup. And I might have to do some Steam shenanigans here if I can't see the game, because I am filthy American after all. And just the way the Steam regions work, sometimes you can't find things. But let's get to this here. Okay. I might be able to find it here. Oh, here we go. So, we're going to be starting with some live games, actually. I do have some replays to get to as well. But yeah, we've got Undjaga versus Crabling in a best of 5. So that is going to be a great time. Let me just make sure I have all of this adjusted here. Whoops. Okay. We're going to go ahead and just test this out real quick. There we go. Oh, host kicked. Interesting. Okay. I'm under a pseudonym, so they probably don't know who I am. Yeah, there should be at least a 30-second delay on my stream. We do have a little bit of a delay in place. Let me just double check here, actually. Yeah, we do have some games live. Yes, that's correct. Yes. We're in the final stages, so might as well just explain where we're at. So in all of this tournament, so far we've been doing these kind of group stages where everyone, in theory, plays everyone in their group. The more points you get, the more you move up in your group. And like kind of the top few each time, like a diminishing number each time we move on from the groups, right? And now we've had this big tournament, which you can find in the bracket below, is kind of the final stage, a more traditional style elimination tournament. And yeah, so now we're on the round of 8. Got Undjaga versus Crabling fighting to move on. Again, you can find a link for the bracket down in the description below. Take a look, see that's kind of the tail of the tape here. We've also got Saphir versus Calmaran. Hope I'm pronouncing all of these right. Ice Power versus Newport potentially. I'm not sure about some of these others. I do have replays for Icy versus Showtime and Dark Phoenix versus Samurai as well. So yeah. I'll be switching back to the mid as well during the deployment just to make sure we're all good, because this is a pretty high level tournament. There's quite a bit at stake. If you check the website as well, you can see the total prize pool that has been crowdfunded by all of our generous sponsors. It's generally been a really awesome experience to be a part of, just to see all of these different players. And for these two, I mean, Crabling's a familiar player. He's been a veteran of tournaments for quite some time. Very good player. Diaga is kind of a legend from back in the day. He kind of took a break for a while. Was away from the kind of main competitive scene, but now has returned in force, ready to rumble. So they're getting their faction picks locked in. Like we're going to see a Greenskins from Diaga. Very strong first pick. Crabling could potentially counter with an undead faction. We'll see. In a lot of people's kind of ideas, that would be the best pick, but Greenskins are just in general quite a strong faction. What's up, Ice Power? Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. I'm honestly very excited, honored even to cast these games live. And Crabling going with the Dwarfs, interesting. A classic grudge match opening up. We are all on El Angui, very classic map as well. This is just honestly a dream come true, right? Oh yeah. Pardon me just one moment. I'm actually going to put on a little bit of music here. Oh wait, interim rounds. Really need to get the Rome 2 soundtrack mixed into this playlist, but I'll be right back. Okay, just fixing, as you mentioned, Lotus, they're in the wrong sides in the lobby, which is fine. We'll just switch them real quick. Dwarfs is an interesting one, because you can kind of pull off some hilarious shenanigans with, like, you know, leadership debuff artillery. Although Greenskins have a wicked all-Vanguard rush that is just brutal if it's pulled off correctly. It is very tricky to do because it's mostly goblins, and of course goblins, terrible leadership, but it's an interesting matchup. Yeah, bombers can potentially be absolutely devastating here. Let's go ahead and actually switch to this during the deployment, just to make sure, you know, there's no shenanigans. I'll make sure to switch it back as I kind of watch here. Excuse me. Oh. Oh no. It's like we dropped a streamer. Gyro bombers, yeah, the thing is, gyro bombers' damage is devastating up close to certain characters, and like really, I mean, besides pressuring you with ranged units or like Azag, there's not a lot Greenskins can do. I mean, pretty underrated pick in that matchup. The suppression too is kind of nice on certain units, but basically you just find Grom and delete him with, if you can, with the gyro bomber. They might go Spirit Leech though on a Troll Hag, which is also like relatively dangerous, to be honest. Oh, your game crashed. Rip. Well, we'll keep it here for just a moment. Right now they're getting their deployments done. Let's check up on things here. Vindictive Glare is an issue too. Vindictive Glare is an issue too. I mean, maybe there's a few counterplays they have, but as long as you can get some good value on it first. Glare is actually pretty good here too, potentially for sniping artillery. I don't know, the angle of it, depending on who you're casting it from. Like the dude on the ground can sometimes have line of sight issues. But okay, looks like we're getting started straight up. And you said gyros, we got gyros. We got, what is this? 4 copters, yeah, 1 brimstone gun, and the Skyhammer. Wow, going all out. Wild first pick, just straight in. Gotrek Felix and Grombrindle, super strong character core with some Slayers. We got Miners with blasting charges. Then that's pretty much it. On the flip side, Night Goblin Warboss, you love to see this guy, honestly. Super high tech pick, like very much skill usage, but just ridiculously strong. Did not bring the sword, but he does have the boss's loons and fermented fungi mounted on a squig. We got a Night Goblin Shaman, some Spider Rider archers, goblins, looks like a couple stone trolls, savage orcs, and over on the side here, some Vanguard forces as well. Yeah, looks like a goblin rock clobber. Slowly advancing here, we've got 8 peak loons revealed in the center. So far, no Vindictive Glare on the bomber. He did not, in fact, even bring Vindictive Glare, which could potentially be a huge issue. Really not a lot of counterplay for the gyros right off the bat, but this infantry force is going to get crumbed pretty hard. We'll see. Slayers are going to activate here. Gotrek Felix also grinding in the center. The Stone Trolls, as a result, not really having the best time. Grombrindle also just punches them directly in the face. Brimstone guns are also decent enough counter. Fire damage does help them get past the missile resistance there. Excuse me, plus good armor piercing damage. But the Squig Lord sweeping over. Unfortunately, the Skulkers also just got kind of wrecked there. I might have missed a bombing run straight up from the Skyhammer, but right now, I'm going to turn around and attempt to delete this Warboss. You can see how it's parked kind of directly above him, more or less. I don't know if it's actually... Oh, yeah, it is shooting. Let's watch this damage here, kind of keep it close as the Squigs get a nice rear charge there on those Ekron's Miners. Fermented Fungi does get popped, and that is a nice counter for the Skyhammer. It's now going to probably charge down onto the ground, which is just hilarious. Warboss can try and countercharge it here, uses a little armor-piercing attacks, but the just massive gyro force is pushing away him and his light cavalry here, but won't take too many attacks. Wah is active, nice little timing push there, gets a big ol' attack there. And 1 or 2 more attacks should finish it. Oh, gets a hit there. Think about the gyro bomber. It doesn't have a lot of HP at all. So that is a pretty big loss, and just gets straight up shattered, not blown up, by the little war boss there. So he's definitely paid some dividends already. The Slayers are gone, but this character box is going to be pretty hard. I mean, honestly, the Stone Trolls can't really do a lot to them. Nasty Skulkers eventually will just get ground down by them, although in a surround with successive WAs, they might be able to do something. We'll see. Skirmish Cav is focusing on the gyros. They're not doing a lot of damage, but if they can continue to kind of keep up the pressure, it's going to turn into a little bit of a kite game here where both players are attempting to use their mobile skirmish units to shoot each other. Honestly, shooting these Slayers was also very viable. That's going to be a lot better damage output overall, given the lower armor there. Hatred Copter. Yeah, we'll see. So far, Rock Lobbers honestly probably haven't done a lot in terms of value output. Yeah, only 16 kills, relatively low on the XP value. But we'll see. In this situation, shooting Gotrek also with the Skirmish Cav might not be a terrible idea, since he also has 0 armor. Not any physical resistance either, just a little bit of missile resistance. But I don't know if Onjaga has enough ammo, honestly. Going to be tricky for him. He does have quite a bit of infantry left, though. Something working in his favor. These Skulkers, you can kind of keep them in reserve just for the time being. Potentially feed them in later. As long as this Night Goblin War Boss can stay healthy, and I mean the Brimstone guns, Steam guns are a threat. Night Goblin Artillery Crew now gets shattered, and that's the end of that. There's this other Rock Lobber over here somehow, though. Just a lot of resources left for Onjaga to keep the pressure. Yeah, it's honestly, what a scrap. Like, we'll see. Grappling does need to keep applying pressure with these gyrocopters, which he is doing. A little bit of shots there, going after the Skirmish Cav. I mean, this is a lot of... Oh, another fungus gets used there, though. The issue is with the fungus, if you can't actually get damage in during the timing that it's up, you won't get the enrage. Like, it does have to get a certain amount of damage in, so... if Krablin can just avoid with these gyrocopters and not take any damage, yeah, then they won't... Ooh, that's kind of a big blown ability there, potentially. Could be pretty decisive. But, yeah, the gyros conserving their ammo. Yeah, if they do still have bombs, let's check. We can actually look and see. I do believe they have their bombs. I can see them kind of in the wings here, right? And visually, I do believe if they drop, then those are not there. So, you should still have the bomb drops, and if that is the case, then the Skulkers, yeah, they're just going to get bombed out when they try and come in the late game. But this artillery crew, these rock lobbers, they're running for the hills. They're just kiting hard as the Skirmish Cav still applies pressure here. But honestly, the gyrocopters are punching back pretty hard. Granted, this is using up their main ammunition, but at the same time, it's kind of a win condition where just taking out the Skirmish Cav here is going to be pretty beneficial. And limit Onjaga's ability to, counteract, and he'll for sure have to rush into melee in an unfavorable situation. I don't know, honestly, just blobbing up around this melee force. But Krablin, using them to go after this artillery crew is, viable and correct, and yeah, I mean, they're going to get routed there by the gyros in melee anyway. It's just amazing. This one gyro kind of conserving its ammunition, so very patient game, honestly, from Krablin with these gyros. Trolls might just carry the balance power. I mean, the trolls are regenerating, I guess, up to their model count, which they still have 10 models here, in 9 models here, so this whole time they are regenerating as well, which is something. I mean, the thing about the trolls in the late game is it just, when they fight in this hero blob, like Gotrek and Grombrindle kind of crump them to a degree, and if there are still Brimstone guns left, which it looks like the one gyrocopter with ammo is not a Brimstone gun, there is that, but Now this hero squad gets caught out. Gottrek's going to try and duck and run, do a little bit of foe seeker fancy dancing, dodge some of those arrows, while this poor rock lava crew gets chased off. I think that might be potentially a little bit overkill. This is a lot of stuff. You can see on Jaga just maneuvering nicely here, trying to envelop these troops a little bit. I mean, speed-wise, unfortunately we can't see the effect of the vigor, but you got to think that these nasty skulkers are fresh. A lot of these greenskin units are fresh in terms of vigor, whereas this hero squad is all exhausted because they've been just hiking. Just absolutely going for a straight-up Appalachian trail walk. Storm Vermin OP. Oh my. But yeah, you can see on Jaga gets back here with the skirmish cav. Gonna probably finish off these slayers, or attempt to. Maybe also pressure the gyros a little bit. But now you can see this hero squad's like, uh-oh, we might have made a mistake here. There's a bunch of fresh nasty skulkers, and now's the time for a heroic bombing run if there ever was one. Quick hoppers are going to catch them up a little bit, just try and delay their advance, honestly, more than anything, so that the skulkers can catch up. And here comes the bombing runs. Oh, they use the smoke bombs, which do affect air units, in fact, directly above, and the one kind of powdered gobbo might get the business here. That does allow these skirmish cav to fire in a little bit. One bomb did get used there, I think. Yeah, it looks like they used one charge of bombs there. But it's kind of the final all-in engagement here, this one Slayer. Another bombing run being used there, the 8 Peak Loons. I mean, they don't really have a lot of targets to use their fanatics on at this point, so that's maybe not the worst unit to take it on, honestly. But the Stone Troll's definitely going to take what's left of the Brimstone guns. But this is basically just going to be it. You can see Felix is honestly not happy. Felix's leadership is surprisingly bad. There are still Savage Orcs in here as well. They're going to do decent damage to Gotrek in a surround just because of their high weapon strength and his low armor. You can see that. Immediately on that charge bonus too. Wow, he takes a lot of damage there. So, this we'll see. I mean, this whole battle's been going, but there's still so much infantry left. Definitely going to need some heroic bombing runs, but then the gyros come down into melee. I'm not really sure. These ones, it looks like, do not have their bombs, so they're going to have to be used to just fix these units in place. But honestly, smoke bomb plus stone trolls, they're just going to get completely crumped, which is not good for them. Felix, also itchy nuisance on this hero box. Just, again, hasn't been a lot of stuff to use magic on, honestly, so Nyaga's probably got plenty left in the tank. Try and use these support spells into this late game. Nerf their melee attack a little bit there. The Savage Orcs are going to wear out, but not before doing some pretty solid damage to at least Gotrek and, you know, Felix as well. Issue is with Felix kind of regenerating here, and there's not really any way to terrify him away. Yeah, he will just continue regenerating these very strong dwarf characters over time. And, oh, there's the bombing run we were looking for. Those gobbos getting the business. And that does put dwarfs kind of slightly ahead on the balance of power for the first time. There's still a lot of stuff, and the thing is, with all of this stuff still fighting, you'll see waves coming back. And, yeah. Basically still one full health unit of Skulkers, more or less. And the Night Goblin War Boss, also not complete pushover here. Itchy Nuisance, once again, going to be used. Dwarfs do take a pretty decisive lead, though, at this point, as a lot of stuff shatters. Yeah, the Trolls shattering is a big issue. Yeah, might get some of these Skirmish Cav units back in here, but it looks like the Dwarves probably got it. Yeah, unfortunately there was still that one last bombing run there. That was a backbreaker. Just absolute steel chair. Oh man, it is the true end. I mean, we still have this one Stone Troll coming back, sneaky stabbing on them. They straight up wreck a Gyrocopter. trying to kind of reunify with the rest of these forces, but it's just killing this hero squad is getting harder and harder with the loss of those infantry units. The Skulkers at this point just won't have the leadership to stand and fight. So I think just by kind of breaking up those last infantry units, and this unit of Stone Trolls as well, I mean, their leadership is low enough that, yeah, a little bit of, you know, kind of different leadership effects. You can see they barely dip below. Ooh, yeah, they do rout. Oh, man. Went to -5 there and just shattered. That is a painful shatter there. Some nice use of leadership effects. That heroic kind of sacrificial charge of the brimstone guns. Honestly, beautiful dwarf play. People say, you know, dwarfs require no micro, and just show them this game. This is probably one of the most micro-intensive dwarf games I think I've ever seen. I mean, granted, still only microing like 5 units, I guess. 7 units, 8 units, but... yeah, I did not get to watch that, unfortunately, but you can probably find it on someone's channel. I don't know, honestly, because I was on vacation. I haven't really been keeping up with who streamed what in terms of the finals, but my guess is you can probably see, if you check like Valkano's channel potentially, or did Happy Puppy also do a stream as well? I'm not sure. I know there was a few different streamers kind of in there. But at this point, this game's pretty much wrapping up. I mean, looking pretty grim for Ndiaga as, yeah, Gotrek comes in, delivers a massive hit to the war boss, and as soon as this war boss goes down, that's going to be army losses. And that is game. So very well played to both, honestly. That was right down to the wire. Some really nice plays back and forth, but credit to Crabling playing very smart with his gyrocopters. Honestly, beautiful gyro play. Utilizing the ammo kind of throughout the battle on priority targets. The bombs as well came in with some devastating damage. Ndiaga was able to get the gyro bomber, which was definitely a great pick early on. Get some value with that nasty fungus. The Skulkers were a pretty decent pick. I mean, they definitely go pretty far here. The Savage Orcs definitely paid dividends in that late game situation, and I do like basically the entire build. Issue is, you know, that Dwarven character box. He didn't have, honestly, that many tools directly for taking them down. You know, no Terror for Felix, potentially no Spirit Leech. And as a result, these guys ended up being a really nice anchor for these gyros to operate. I mean, more or less blasting charges just get run over here. Slayers do mostly get their value back, but still, a lot of it comes on the gyro play. And yeah, honestly, beautiful builds on both sides. Just came down to those gyros using their ammo and bombs smart. Crab shall remain strong indeed. We'll go ahead and get to the next one. Let me update the scoreboard in the meantime. So interesting to come in with the Dwarfs on a counter pick to the Greenskins and win. That is grudges equals satisfied. Just a very thematic matchup, and yeah, the Royal Dawi Air Force wins the day. I honestly, for me, I would tend to go with the non-ROR gyro bomber, just because that is something that can happen because the gyro bomber is relatively squishy. If you lose out on that extra value, I mean, it's not that much extra value. It's what, maybe an extra miner or something, but I don't know. The bombs on the ROR gyro bomber are also just like, do you want to potentially kill your own troops? Yes or no? But that's just my own personal, you know, bias against that thing, because it may or may not have blown up my own troops before. Anyway, great game though, honestly. Great game to both players. Whoops, that was a little loud. My apologies. And what a game to wake you up if you're in the US. I know it's an afternoon, evening for you guys out in Europe, but beautiful day. Feeling good. Got some awesome live games with some very good players. And let's go ahead and once again just thank all of our sponsors. get back to the action here in just a moment. And it looks like Crabling's going to be picking Chaos. He bans Lizardmen and Bretonia. Yaga goes with Vampire Counts, so very good counter pick. Again, kind of by the books as well. Vampire Counts are potentially one of the worst factions for Warriors of Chaos to deal with. For me, if I'm playing Warriors of Chaos, probably like Dark Elves, and weirdly enough, Vampire Counts are probably the two factions I would least like to fight. Greenskins is hard, but it's okay. You can get around Greenskins, and yeah. Skyhammer needs a gunnery wipe. Oh, it would be nice if we got a Lee army for Bowie. Would be a pretty good thing to have. Maybe he is baiting this pick. I mean, Lizardmen and Bretonia, I'd be fine fighting Lizardmen and Bretonia actually as well. I would be absolutely fine fighting, just because, yeah, I mean, with the new changes to bracing and that stuff, sorry, getting distracted. With new changes to infantry bracing and mass and everything, the halberds, warriors with halberds, are more cost effective than ever, and honestly, they're just really good in that matchup. Like Warriors of Chaos, you know, Hell Cannons are really good in that matchup. Basically, like, a lot of stuff in your roster is good. You could even do fun stuff like go Armored Chaos Trolls, which is probably not a good idea, but I mean, you can try if you want in a competitive environment. I don't know if I would do that, but yeah. It should be an interesting one. I mean, from Warriors of Chaos perspective, you know, like Mortis engines are potentially really bad. Yeah, like Blood Knights are so-so. I mean, they can be an issue for certain units, like Spawn, which are, in some people's mind, a good thought in this matchup because they're unbreakable and, you know, high weapon strength. But honestly, Spawn's defensive stats, they'll like get ground down even by low tier vampire stuff, just by incidental damage and healing and so on. Yeah, there's a lot from Warriors of Chaos that is tough for you to deal with, let's say, or from Vampire Counts as Warriors of Chaos. A lot of their stuff, you would think that Warriors of Chaos would have good kind of attritional trades, but healing on Vampire Counts is too much, and since you just don't have any healing with Warriors of Chaos, it does change things somewhat. We'll see what build he brings. Oh, that was a little ham-fisted on the music transition there. Honestly, I should get like a board for that. Just an excuse to buy more stuff, right? Get like a sound effects board too, potentially. I would definitely add some classic sound effects from like Stronghold and, you know, some other strategy games. Any guys ever play Stronghold? I'm talking the original, like Stronghold Crusader from back in the day. A little bit of a tangent, but those games are awesome, man. You like a good city builder / RTS-ish game? They're definitely a lot of fun. Hey, what's up, Pharaoh, man? Good to see you as always. Alright, let's see. I know you guys can't see. We'll be getting started in just a moment here. Wood needed. There we go. Yeah, exactly. Rusty's first. Exactly. uh... Yeah, I mean, I don't want to spoiler alert it, but you guys already probably guessed it in the chat in terms of build. Here we go. It is indeed 5 aspiring champions, 6 skirmish cav, 2 exalted heroes in the air, and a firecaster on a dragon. So yeah, Lore of Fire for Warriors of Chaos, very good because the Chaos Dragon does fire damage both in melee and with its breath attack. You can also actually just straight up buff missile damage, which buffs the breath attack damage with Flaming Sword of Ruin. Pause. Why pause? What happened? Okay, just making sure that Orion streams here. So yeah, and then on Franjaga here we've got the Red Duke. Wow, classic pick. You don't see the Red Duke all the time, but as a potential counter dragon lord here, he's going to be very good. Elsif is still just devastating. Minus 40 melee defense, 48% speed. Physical resistance isn't really going to matter too much. It would have been good against Archaon though, so I do like the pick. Vargeist here, we've got Goose as well, but Goose has got to be careful. He doesn't want to get caught out by all 3 kind of goon squad here, so we are going to have probably a pretty big air engagement. The issue is the javelins will be pretty good at taking down the Vargeist, and you know, kind of in theory here, does he have the Hellfire Sword? He does not have the Hellfire Sword. He does. No, he does have Hellfire Sword and Mark of Khorne on both those exalted heroes, so they both got kind of Frenzy and the ability to get a fire damage uptime. But oh man, look at this damage right off the bat here. One of these exalted heroes getting absolutely gooned there with Elsif active. The Vargeist are taking substantial damage though. One of the other Vargeist comes over here and is going to actually pressure away the Horse Masters, and a nice burning head as well on these Graveguard is going to kind of sacrifice one of those aspiring champions. Maybe not. Aspiring champions will fight just fine. The thing about champs here is their stats are just so high that the undead units, even the Graveguard Grey Weapons, have a hard time hitting them. But look at this in the air. Man, these characters, Lore of Fire, Sorcerer, just getting destroyed by the Vargeist and the Goose in melee. Scroll of Leeching, greatly reduced power rate, so no spells can be used there. And that is probably a GG. I mean, I don't want to call it too early. Definitely, Traveling has a lot of units left that can still do something, but the Exalted Heroes holding the line for the time being. The Vargeist are going to go down here. They did get a really nice uptime of Dance Macabre. Dance Macabre, probably one of the best spells. Red Duke survives, which means he can likely heal himself back up, either by fighting in melee with the Hunger, which he does have, or just, you know, application of the Hex and so forth. Firecaster does come back. He's going to turn around and try an air-to-air breath here. Oh, the Vargeist just point blank eats the last one. That's a nice little power play right there. Going to cast a Fireball as well. Pops a Cascading Fire Cloak on this one wounded Exalted Hero, going all in, trying to finish the Red Duke. Screw the Goose. Just try and finish the Duck, you know, Duck and Goose. I love this build, man. Duck and Goose. That's what we'll call it. Yeah, it's devastating though. I mean, against this kind of flying character squad, but look at this, Goose actually getting the business now as all 3 gang up, and it doesn't take a lot to turn around those fights as the you know, kind of the RNG of single entity fighting becomes thing. Another air-to-air breath being used here. That Noxious Breath makes okay contact. Elsif was used on that Exalted Hero, so yeah. We'll see. It's still a lot of RNG and kind of positioning as to how this air fight plays out, but the fact that the Vargeists are gone and there's no more bats, there's kind of no more support units. Nice zombie summon though, right on the ground to try and block those shots on Goose. Goose though is getting pretty low. You do have Blood Knights, and this is a nice play to kind of go to ground here with units within range. Does get some nice damage on those horsemen, and the Blood Knights can now actually support this engagement here. So them now in a surround will probably finish the Exalted Hero, both Exalted Heroes even. Blood Knights just absolutely destroy them. Yeah, so that's rough. Fireball though, Duck rather, is in a dangerous situation. A few more javelins might actually take him down as well, and there are javelins within range. Some nice hits from those Horse Masters. They have good armor piercing damage, barely stabilizes with 66 HP. Crumbling is so balanced, guys. You feel the balance of Crumbling right here, right now in this specific situation. I bet Crabbling feels it. Anyway, let's not talk about that. Aspiring Champions, they're going to continue grinding, and they have basically taken no damage at all, which is kind of hilarious. His last Fireball, will it finish? No, it looks like he did get an Invocation of the Heck and dodges the Fireball just for some spite as well. So pretty rough stuff there. If the Red Duke keeps healing, then I think this is probably a GG. I mean, the Aspiring Champions will grind through all of this infantry in the next 10 years at some point, but it will take them about that length of time. Or perhaps, you know, even longer. We'll see. Yeah, it's a Warhammer 1 player, yeah. And I actually, you know, for what you can come up against with, like, kind of the way the counterplay has developed in this meta, I would actually say the Red Duke is probably a good pick in this matchup. Because Chaos relies on their characters so much in this matchup. Yeah. I would definitely go for it. A lot of people would just say, you know, bring the whatever dude with the Helm of Discord, but actually Elseif is, it's just potentially better specifically against characters, and we've got the final character engagement underway. Let's see who gets the RNG. Oh, Crabbling, the Sorcerer Lord, kills the Red Duke and then routs. What a trade. Will he shatter? I think he'll probably come back. But that is just straight up like, okay, let's just equally dice roll against each other. Whoever, you know, wins that dice roll probably wins the fight. I mean, we'll see. Even still, the vampire counts are going to take a lead on the balance of power as a lot of the Horse Masters start to exhaust their ammo. But basically, what can happen is once they do use all of their ammo, if like all of the horsemen at the same time charge the Blood Knights and get like a full surround on them with the champs, they could actually probably beat them. And it does look like the Sorcerer Lord comes back. If he's got like one more pocket breath attack too, that's probably GG. Oh man, what a game though. This series, these two are just absolutely scrapping right now. Jesus is real. Yeah. It's... We'll see. I mean, the champs here, the champs are champs. Let's be honest. They're the true champs of this entire battle. They've just literally been killing hundreds of, you know... They've been going on their own kind of Vermintide style adventure, except it's, you know, the Undead Tide. It's literally left for undead. And you're a Chaos Warrior, and you just kill hundreds and hundreds of zombies and skeletons, and then you have to kill a few Graveguard as well, and maybe even a Blood Knight or two. Speaking of which, these Blood Knights are going to get hit by the last few javelins of the Horse Masters. Crabling's Sorcerer Lord literally just watching from a distance at this point. No need to even fly anywhere. Let him, you know, recover his vigor, which it's kind of hilarious that if you think about it, that the dragon actually recovers vigor just sitting here and flapping, rather than like actually landing on the ground and resting. Anyway, let's not think too hard about that. Oh yeah, look at these champs. Champs are probably one of the coolest looking units in the game, to be honest. One of the most iconic kind of Warhammer looking, just these hulking Chaos Warriors. These massive tower shields, they're enchanted swords. Cursed swords, more like. Champs are actually taking a pretty good amount of damage, I think, from the Graveguard's Grey Weapons, but it looks like Undyaga's actually gonna concede there. So what a game from Crabbling, man. That was just wild back and forth. Yeah, overcame the crumbling just barely, but what a character trade, man. Honestly, yeah, the Red Duke, interestingly enough, the damage value on him doesn't seem that high, but he does help contribute to damage on a lot of these other units. You know, between the Goose and the Vargeise. Blood Knights also contribute a pretty decent amount. The Graveguard with Great Weapons, honestly, one or two more of those, and I think he could have potentially won this. Or even just potentially like Black Knights, even. But yeah, the Dragon and the two Exalted Heroes did all get quite a bit of value. Firing Champions, I mean, high kill, total, low value. You would expect that. Good value on all of the Horsemen, Horse Masters too. Very impressive. So yeah, I see what you're talking about with this build from Crabling. If it works, just bring it, right? I mean, even if people expect it. And Onyaga, I would say, arguably had a pretty good counter build here. A lot of it did come down to RNG in those hero fights. It has to be said. Like, if the Sorcerer Lord dies there at the end, then the Red Duke could potentially recover a little bit more HP, come back, and, you know, tear out everything that's left in the late game. So, yeah, it did come down to the wire in terms of that, but I do have to say this Warriors of Chaos build, very interesting, and it was nice to see it in action. So, fun. The champions get their day in the sun and actually perform very well, considering, I mean, they don't actually pay for themselves again in terms of damage output, but yeah, they're here. They do fulfill their role, so what more can be said of them? Let's go ahead and get to the next game here. I'll update the scoreboard. Landing would have won it. Yeah, if he had potentially been able to get the Blood Knights involved earlier on, but at the same time, the Blood Knights were trying to pressure. The thing is, like, think about, like, potentially bringing... Oop, I've got their builds up, which I need a blocker, definitely. Hang on. Oh, no, I don't. That's right, we're still on the in-between screen. What am I talking about? Just make sure I do have a blocker, though. Okay. Here we go. Yeah, landing would have won it. It's interesting because, yeah, the Vampire Counts did have the Blood Knights on the ground, which could have contributed a lot of value to that fight specifically, but at the same time, I kind of get just taking it in the air with the Vargeise. You know, if you land and then you take rear charges by those units, and especially the Exalted Heroes and the Manticore can get like a couple quick splash attacks on you, then just take a lot of burst damage, and it can be hard to recover from that, even with the Blood Knights then fighting. Like, it cannot be worth the damage that you take in the process, so sometimes it's better to just take the fight in the air, just try and rely. You do rely on RNG heavily, though, especially when, you know, there's those very kind of pitch situations. Try and use, like, there was even L-Sieve active, but at the same time, like, Cascading Fire Cloak helps make up for some of L-Sieve, right? And you do also get some other buffs going off. Kindle Flame helps increase the weapon strength, right? And in general, the buffs and debuffs are how you try and swing things in your favor in those kind of more RNG-based fights. But it's... They still can sometimes lose, you know? Yeah, the Firecaster on the Dragon, though, I do like that pick quite a bit for Warriors of Chaos. In this matchup, and in a couple others as well, it's honestly very, very strong. The Exalted Heroes, the fact they can also get a damage spike for fire damage from the Hellfire Sword, and with the, they get, what, extra charge bonus, weapon strength, I think, from the Mark of Corn, which is also pretty decent. Makes them... I don't always say it's worthwhile to take those upgrades. Sometimes it's more worthwhile just to go with, like, Feral Manticores instead. But that can be worth to take up those upgrades in a matchup like that where you can get good value from it, definitely. And you need the leadership, for example. Want to get them not to enrage and go after high value targets. So yeah, it's an interesting way to kind of go into a tough matchup. If you have a build practiced with, you know it works to a high degree against most other builds. Like if you were to specifically engineer a counter build for this, I'm sure you could figure out one, but at the same time, you still have to execute it well, right? So that's the thing, is there's like multiple layers of picking plus playing in this game. That there's a lot to it. Why they play the games, they say. Anyway, hope you guys are enjoying. I'm certainly enjoying. Yes, indeed. Guys still considering their picks. I think Yaga's up next on the pick. Hopefully all are doing well. In terms of content, we're just going to be keeping up with some more battle replays. I need to get some more of my own. I honestly have not been playing much, of course, since I've been on vacation. And yeah, I do plan to continue to cover Rome Remastered as well. I may actually end up, I know I've said this forever, but I still, I play enough Civilizations on my own time that I probably should be putting it on my channel as well. I know, not as many people will watch it, but that's more just because I'm playing it for my own pleasure, and maybe some of you will find that interesting as well. You play a little bit of modded Civ, and we could even get some community game nights potentially going with Civilizations. I know, I believe Happy Puppy plays it. I believe we've got some other community members that we could probably convince into playing. A little bit of multiplayer. But as for the Warhammer World Championship, of course, once again, big thanks to all of our sponsors. If you're just joining now, you can check the link in the description to check out the bracket. We're in the final stage, round of 8. And we've got quite a few games, best of 5s to get through today. I've got replays for a few. Currently, we are live with Andiaga versus Krabbling. Krabbling up 2 on the series. Again, best of 5. So Santiago going with Empire. Here, the ban. Bretonia and Lizardmen. Traveling, we'll see. Could go Greenskins. Could pick with a few different factions, honestly. Beastmen might not be a bad, if you're pretty comfortable in that matchup. Beastmen's also a pretty good one. Welcome, welcome. Let's see what they get up to. MP Blue Reach River is the map. Looks like Krabbling gonna go with Wood Elves. Interesting pick. I perceive this matchup as to be relatively even, but Wood Elves definitely have some strong tools now. See what he goes with. Empire versus Wood Elves. Yeah, fun one. From an Empire player's perspective, I would consider myself mostly an Empire main. There's a lot of directions you can go in this one. There's a lot of directions the Wood Elves can go now, more so than you would think. You do need to prepare for some various things, but in general, there's some tools that are very good, right? Ice Blazing Sun, magic resistance, fire damage, obviously, can be good in this matchup. Yeah. Huntsmen are also pretty good against a lot of the Wood Elves large. You do want some state troops probably as well. They trade pretty cost effectively into the most Wood Elf infantry. I fight fire with Marcus. Marcus, I do see a lot of people use Marcus as well. Volkmar's a pick sometimes, although if they take Orion, sometimes Volkmar kind of gets countered by him. Yeah, with some of the changes, Orion's not quite as impressive as he used to be, but he's still very strong in this matchup. He's somewhat vulnerable to Huntsmen still. Yeah, it's an interesting matchup. Looks like Crabling is set. And Canonjaga pulled back the series. Take a victory with the Empire. They'll have to go full sweep from here, but don't call it a comeback. Definitely possible. Why they play the games, right? Huntsmen are very good in this matchup for sure. It can be tricky to use artillery because the actually way stalkers also I think are very good in this matchup just to counterfire artillery. Like you can easily detonate, you know, cannon at the very least, like right at the start of the game with the well-placed arrow of Kronos. So what else have options? Yeah, Wood Elves are... Agnites can be decent in this matchup. They're a little bit vulnerable. The reduced missile block chance more so against Huntsmen than before. Yeah, you can do just a lot of different things, honestly, here as Wood Elves. Wild Riders are also decent in numbers, like if you catch them off guard, although they don't trade great into kind of the traditional Empire cavalry. Orion's pretty decent here. Again, a little bit vulnerable to Huntsmen, but we'll see. Like these guys are now loading in. Switch back to the mid screen here. Really would like to get like a little slideshow that we could play. Might have to look into that for the future. Up the production value a little bit. All right. They're just getting their deployments ready now. Get started shortly. Good to see some Empire. And Wood Elves also. Interesting one. Wood Elves certainly better than they used to be. Wood Elves had a little bit of a rough patch where they were just kind of glass cannon and didn't actually hit that hard, relied overly much on Way Watchers. I mean, in the hands of really, really skilled players, they've always been pretty dangerous, but at the same time, they just, like the micro tax trade was often like you'd find yourself in bad situations if you play with ham fists, especially like me. So definitely now I just feel like you have more options. They're a little bit more forgiving than they used to be. Yeah. Oh, looks like they are ready to go. And we do have quite a few huntsmen. We got some Empire swordsmen, spearmen in the back. what is this? Light Wizard, Volkmar the Grim, Knights of the Blazing Sun out here. Got some Stag Knights on the other side. Dryads, all full Vanguard with Durthu. Glade Riders with the Hagbane tips. And Hawkeyes of Jakir, they're a regiment of renown. Way Watchers. Very fun stuff. He's going to have to be careful. Leading with the Swordsman here, they could just come in with the Stag Knights and just face charge and get a giant wreck. You know, the Dryads also will trade pretty well into the Swordsman. Swordsman won't trade terribly, though, and a little bit of support from the Knights of Blazing Sun help turn that around. So a lot of it comes down to kind of cavalry support here. Empire Knights and Knights of Blazing Sun both mixed in here. Huntsmen also want to be firing into the cavalry engagement more so than the infantry engagement, so you just got to watch for where those Stag Knights go. Durthu could be a little bit of an issue here. There's not a ton of armor piercing in this Empire army. Focus fire from the Huntsmen will be okay, but we'll see. It looks like Hagbane tips putting some poke into the side of those Knights. They actually do magic damage with their bows, so they're not going to be doing as much as they otherwise would because of that magic resistance. It does make a little bit of a difference there. Not too much. But Manticore Summon also being popped now. That's probably going to go in the back line after these Huntsmen. Durthu just pushing up, and you can see the Race of the Frozen Heart just wreck those Swordsmen. They get a really nice engagement as an ROR. Knights of the Blazing Sun, though, turning this flank around for the Empire, and some focus fire from the Huntsmen. It looks like on the Hawkeyes of Chakira, interesting choice, but a nice hit by this Manticore going after the Light Wizard here. He's going to overcast a net here, potentially. Yep. So he does get a big cast off, uses up a good amount of Wind's Magic at least. But I believe, yeah, if he terrifies, the net actually drops, so that is pretty bad. We've also got a nice Flock of Doom here. This Empire Cavalry force just gets absolutely bunker busted before Volkmar even really has a chance to come in and support. Really nice charges from the Stag Knights there. Raise the Frozen Heart, also their Frostbite and kind of damage. Yeah, the Stag Knights, though, just clean house in that cavalry engagement, and that's going to decisively put the Wood Elves in a commanding position. All of a sudden, Volkmar, you know, the Soulfire does do a lot of damage. He more or less wrecks this one unit of Stag Knights. Volkmar actually can trade relatively well into them given the right situation, but just the loss of heavy cavalry here is pretty bad. Let's see if the Huntsmen can try and turn things around here as they kind of kite away. They're doing some really nice damage to this unit of Stag Knights. Volkmar also sweeping back over and trying to get in a position to block for these Stag Knights here, who did actually get netted. Like the Light Wizard came back and was actually able to contribute that spell. The Spearmen will trade very cost effectively as a result. Also hold them in place for the Huntsmen to fire in. So definitely punching back here. Volkmar is not on his pimp wagon, which could be a little bit of an issue into the late game. I mean, he still is a pretty formidable character, but not going to be as good of a combatant, and he's going to have to mostly avoid fighting Durthu probably until the late game. But now going after pressure those Stag Knights melee, he does do magic fire damage, which with his attack stats, he'll be able to punch Stag Knights relatively hard, but also he will get punched by them, and he's not unbreakable on the horse, which will be an issue as he comes in. Durthu comes in rather with that big old amber sword. Stag Knights also now turning around to try and get a full surround on Volkmar rather. Smoke bomb from the Hawkeyes of Jakira and a few timely arrows right to the face, and Volkmar is basically done for. That is a massive, massive loss. We'll see. Might be able to come back. He will still continue regenerating if he doesn't get completely sniped by the Hawkeyes there. He actually shatters. That is absolutely backbreaking. Stag Knights get netted. Try and get taken down by the Huntsmen here. We've got a handful of Empire Swordsmen as well, but Volkmar actually gets fully killed. That will put a big dent in leadership of all the Empire troops. And we've got some swordsmen coming back. We've got some spearmen coming back. Probably aren't likely to stay in for a long time, though, because of the loss of Volkmar, but we'll see. Some huntsmen finishing some last troops here. Lamentation of Despair actually clips 2 Stag Knights. Oh, man, Durthu just so angry. He does not even care at this point. He wants to finish things, and we do indeed. Yeah, Crab got it. Crab got it. So Crabling takes series there on a 3-0 sweep, and just, I mean, a couple of really close games. This one, though, I mean, came in with a very, very good build on Diaga. Interesting choices here. I definitely like the kind of wide play with the Huntsman. Fortunately, Volkmar not being on the pimp wagon I do think is a little bit of an issue. Probably worth sacrificing a couple of these swordsmen or maybe one of these Empire Knights. Put him on such. The Stag Knights do a pretty good job overall. I mean, two of them kind of get crumped, but the third one does pay for itself. The Hagbane Tips also very nice. Triads trading really well into the state troops overall. Wraiths of the Frozen Heart are a very nice unit. Urthu also just mostly unopposed here due to the kind of lack of armor piercing in general for the Empire. So GG, well played indeed. Let me just quickly check here as we get prepared for the next series. Let's go ahead and get this going here, and I'll be right back. Okay, just preparing for the next match here. Waiting on the players to be ready to invite me into the lobby. In the meantime, welcome. We've still got more replays for today. We've got Saphir versus Halaharman up next. Once again, you can check the bracket description down below. I don't know if we're going to get all of the round of 8 replays in for today, but we do have quite a few to get through, so... Like I see a lobby. Okay. And once again, they have trolled me with the name placements, so give me just a second here. Alright, and we've got Kalarman versus Saphir. And I've definitely spelled that wrong, my apologies. Let's get that corrected real quick. I'm missing 2 A's. How did I do that? That is honestly kind of impressive. There we go. No, not a place to download the replays for the World Championship at the moment. I don't know if there are plans to make those publicly available. There is an absolute treasure trove of replays. Yeah, I've even only scratched the surface on my channel of the replays I could have casted. But let's see what we got here. ODM has had a great showing, has to be said. Has had a really good showing in this tournament so far. Look at the bracket here. It's pretty impressive. We've still got a couple VM players, of course. Spice Power, the pride of XMT. Prussian Prince for RTK. There's quite a few clans still represented, honestly. There are quite a few ODM players. This here ODM showdown, and actually, you do look on the bracket. Spoiler alert, because I'm going to be showing this series later, so you might want to just quickly mute for a second. Yeah, Showtime also waiting in the bracket for the winner of this series, so we'll have another ODM interclan match on the next round from these two. I don't know, I don't think I'm casting those ones, we'll see. But, yeah. See what else we get to today. I'm not 100% sure. Moors is just kind of guiding me through as the players become available. Slayer now. No QSA. Yeah, no. Not a lot of QSA players out there that played. I don't know if Aerocrastic actually played in the tournament. Did he? I don't know. Yeah. I apologize if he did. I think he was more just so managing and so on. You know, keeping people up on the rules and helping out with that stuff. Didn't have too many QSA players, and we had a few, but yeah, the group stages were brutal just because the way some of the groups played out. Like, you know, we had a lot of like groups where a lot of the XMT and kind of QSA players killed each other in the groups, so yeah, not a lot of them actually got through into the final round just by the way the groups played out, which is unfortunate from my perspective. Definitely might be a little bit biased, but yeah, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure Arrow didn't play because he was part of the referee crew, as kind of the head of the banner rules, more or less. So yeah, Ice Power's been on a tear lately, so we'll see. I'm not sure if he's gonna be playing in replays we're casting today, but hopefully. Oh, Lizardmen Mirror? Really? Okay. Alright, Lizardmen Mirror, here we go. This is it. Who made the pools matches was an ODM player. No. No. We have a team of referees. I'm not sure actually, honestly, but I'm sure it was all fair and balanced. I trust those people, and yeah, as Reginald mentioned, we did have a few QSA players drop out too, and that's just the nature of the beast with one of these really long tournaments. You know, sometimes real life concerns get in the way. Maybe you have to move, or something comes up, you don't have access to a PC. You know, whatever happens, things happen. Yeah, I was gonna say, in the end, there were only a few QSA players, I think, in the first place. So, considering our low numbers, placed fairly well, I would say. I didn't play. I could have played, honestly, as a caster, but I chose more to focus on the casting just because I know there was going to be such a high volume of replays for just so many different players and throughout all the stages, too. I mean, this has been, what, like a 4-month endeavor now? So, again, credit to all the organizers. Moores, of course, especially is kind of the spearhead of all this, but all the referees and organizers and everyone, all the other casters as well. Been a blast. Guessing the bot made it, no way. Yeah, refs can't play. Okay, that's right. That's what I was thinking. I just, you know, my potato brain loses track of these things over time. Thank you, Reginald. Appreciate that. It's been a pleasure, definitely. Yeah, we'll see who comes out on top in the end of all of this. It should be pretty interesting. It's been quite a journey. Lizardmen mirror, though. This should be interesting. Yeah, I'd like to see you play in the next one. Hopefully. I mean, we'll see. Honestly, I'll be honest. I do enjoy playing and challenging myself, but I feel like I've kind of been there, done that in terms of tournaments to a degree. Like I play more in kind of private practice with people, and I enjoy like coaching and even just practicing with other, you know, kind of higher level players as well, testing myself in that way. But in terms of playing in tournaments, I find that when I engage in tournaments, I have a lot more fun when I'm casting, and I prefer it that way typically, which is why I don't play in as many tournaments anymore. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong. And I play in some occasionally from time to time, especially if it's more like a spur-of-the-moment thing. Like, I'll see, I don't know, Rubber Duck of War's like, hey, don't forget to check into my tournament. And I'm like, oh, he has a tournament today. Let me just sign up real quick, you know, play a few competitive games and just see how it goes for me. And I don't know. I do it from time to time, don't get me wrong, but I much more enjoy casting these days. Yeah, you just, I don't know, in terms of appearances, it looks better. I should probably hide this deployment here. I mean, not that you guys can see it much anyway. But it just looks better, you know, for optics if you don't have referees playing. You don't want it to seem like there's anything untoward going on. Yeah, Shidoku is ODM chief. Yeah, probably going to have a lot of ODMs in the chat today since they have a lot of players represented, which is awesome to see. Awesome to see clanmates coming along. Cheer their brethren and sisters, I don't know, on. And it's just, that's one of the aspects of Total War Warhammer that's awesome, is the community aspect. That's one of the reasons why we do this, right? Certainly for myself. Because of all of you guys. Yeah, and even if that didn't happen, right, even just the perception of that, like, being able to happen, right, some people will, just because there is the ability for it to and the perception that it could, like, people would say that it did, right, if they somehow get a favoring against, ruling against them, you know, not in their favor. So, yeah, it's just better for optics and you know, everything for the referees to be not playing. AoE style music. It is actually medieval too, if you can believe it. Anyway, let's go ahead and transition in as they have begun. And whoops, definitely forgot to put the blocker down, so that is my mistake. There we go. Okay, so for Lizardmen versus Lizardmen here, Collarmon's got a couple of chameleon skinks up front. He's got Razordon hunting packs, a bunch of Cold One Riders, Mazdamundi leading the way, 2 Temple Guard in the center. For Saphir here, very similar build, but 5 Saurus instead, Mazdamundi as well, Pterodons, 3 Chameleons, and a couple of Sacred Croxagores. Interesting choice. So yeah, Mazdamundi versus Mazdamundi, going to be butting heads in some alternate dimension. Yeah. Let's see how this goes. Saurus Warriors definitely trade well into these skinks. The skinks are actually going to fold back. Why take a bad engagement where you can just potentially run away, get the support of these Cold One Riders and so forth. Mazdamundi also coming in to try and bunker bust some of this infantry. The Temple Guard comes forward. They will beat the Saurus. A little bit of a weird trade, but the Sacred Croxagores also rushing in. They rush directly into some Temple Guards, and also the Razordon hunting pack's going to open up on them. A little bit of apotheosis to try and sustain that particular Temple Guard. Is trading pretty well at this point. The Razordons don't really have that great of an arc of fire, but probably want to switch over onto Mazdamundi as he rear charges Mazdamundi. Cold One Riders sweeping up and around the flank here could potentially get on these Chameleons, which would be quite nice, but the cavalry charge here, a lot of damage to these Saurus Warriors, so already 2 Saurus definitely feeling the pain over here. This unit of Temple Guard kind of gets caught by other Saurus, and does take quite a bit of damage as well, but the cavalry sweeping up and getting after these skirmish units in a mirror, tale as old as time. You know, you have cavalry, you can potentially counter skirmish type build, and for Saphir here, he doesn't have enough to try and protect these Chameleons. I mean, they'll be able to survive okay, and might even beat these Cold One Riders eventually, but more Cold One Riders sweeping in. Also, you know, skink cohorts fast can chase down these Saurus that have now been routed. This hero fight here, Mazdamundi is taking quite a bit of damage from Mazdamundi. Red Zamundi versus Blue Zamundi here. Yeah, the Razordon hunting pack staying well away for now, just in a position to try and continue firing. Banishment used on both sides, just doing lots of damage, you know, everywhere. But Blue Zamundi's in a little bit of trouble here. He's going to overcast a Net of Ammontok, try and skedaddle on out of there, but he gets then netted in return by Red Zamundi, which is just amazing. But this kind of death box of Sacred Croxagores is pretty dangerous. Once the Cold One Riders finish cleaning up a lot of these peripheral engagements, they could collapse back down and finish off these Sacred Croxagores just by numbers. But a nice fire here from the Razordons as well. Good armor piercing damage. Will be able to do some against these Sacred Croxagores. They do have a little bit of missile resistance, which helps. But is it actually amazing? We'll see. Chameleon skinks here. The Saurus line does somewhat crumble. Are there Temple Guard left online is the question. You have a few Temple Guards here, a few Temple Guards here, so they can get back in the fight and help swing it against Red Zamundi and his Sacred Croxagore box. Are just continuing to fight here, just kind of bumping into each other. Lots of weird interactions here. I know your tricks. We got another net going down here. Netting Red Zamundi, probably trying to pull him away from the Sacred Croxagores. And here we go, nice charge. Ooh, but another net is used on the Cold One Riders, and now the Sacred Croxagores countercharge them. And that is going to be pretty bad for the Cold One Riders. They take some damage, a little bit of a melee defense buff on both sides from Mazdamundi's, Sunburst standard, but now here comes the full surround. Ruination of Cities being used at the same time does do a decent amount of damage to this unit of Cold One Riders, but in general, Shield of the Old Ones, once that wears off, get some pretty good damage. A little bit of a grind fight. Lizards just fighting lizards, bopping lizards, whacking lizards, which just sounds terrible when I actually say it, like just really, really wrong somehow. Let's not ever say that again, but anyway. Both sides kind of disengaged there. It looks like the cavalry may have got the south end of the engagement, in fact, so they're going to pull away, do a little bit of cycle charge action, let the Razordons come in and throw their little spines. The Sacred Crosscores do turn around, though, and suddenly realize that they could go after the Sacred Crosscores. A little bit of a quick charge there before they're able to get away. More Apotheosis. Things are looking pretty grim for Red Zamundi, though. I mean, Blue Zamundi's got most of his army still online here. Kalarman in a pretty commanding position in terms of the balance of power and both kind of map control units-wise. I mean, the cavalry versus skirmisher, again, tale as old as time for Total War. Rock, paper, scissors. Cavalry, archers, infantry, right. Cavalry counters archers. So, there you go. There we go. Ice Power versus Newport. I'm excited for that series too. Honestly, all of these series upcoming should be great, honestly. We've had one really good one already. Even though it was a 3-0, it's still really, really good games overall. And then this one, of course, Kalaman, again, commanding position. From a build perspective, I do think he had a little bit stronger of a build here, but he's definitely playing smart, not trying to hand the victory over here. Get back to the support of these Temple Guard. Utilize the ammo on the Razordons. Just really make sure that things go in his favor. Getting these units kind of split apart as well. Another shield of the old ones popped. That damage resistance just so strong. Extra leadership as well. But it is only 22%. It certainly helps. How much does it help when you get full surrounded, though? Sacred Crosscore is also not immune to psychology. Get terrified. And there's army losses. GG. Alaman gonna take up 1-0 on the series. Let's see what he's got. Cold One Riders generating great value in the Chameleon Skinks, largely getting shut down as a result. The Pterodons were able to generate some better value, and you almost just wonder, just go with the full Pterodons if you're not going to allocate resources to try and protect skirmish units like this. The Razordons also, man, 2,600 damage value. Just absolutely devastated Mazdamundi in the late game there once they were able to open up. These other two Chameleon Skinks that were free to operate also generated really nice value. Against the Saurus line, Temple Guard did what they needed to, held the line. The Saurus definitely had a rough time, though, just got kind of canned by everything. Sacred Crosscores did reasonably well in trying to help support Mazdamundi against Mazdamundi, but Red Zamundi definitely getting more value. Lots of kills there. But, Colormon taking the win, so switch back on over. Let me get the scoreboard updated. We'll get the next game between these two. And there we go. There's that. And boom. Okay. Oh, yeah. Would be great not to see Grom this entire stream. I bet we'll see some Grom at some point. I wouldn't doubt that we'll see some Grom at some point. He's just, too thick not to see. Belly gets in the way. I'll be right back, guys. I'm gonna go grab a drink of water, put on some music for you all. We'll keep it up with the Med 2 classic soundtrack, and yeah, I'll be with you in just a moment. Stay tuned. Okay, and we're returned. Looks like we got Norska coming. Very nice. By the way, just as a quick reminder, there's crowdfunding for the prize pool will soon be over, so be sure to donate if you want to contribute to the prize pool. If you can check that out at the links down in the description below. You can also view the prize pool at the website there. So yeah, be sure to check it out. If you're feeling generous, you want to contribute to some of the great games that we've had here, or the potential winner of the entire tournament. I believe, I'm not exactly sure, don't quote me on this, but there will be a top several of some number prize distributed amongst them. Obviously, first place taking grand prize and so forth, to be determined once the prize pool is finalized, but it's not quite yet finalized, so you still have a chance to donate to that if you feel so inclined. Any picks or bands to tell us about? Yeah, we've got ostensibly a Norska pick. Not sure exactly what else yet. Prizes between top 8. Okay, so it was decided on then. Okay. I saw some of the discussion, but I don't know if I ever saw final word on that. So, okay. Thanks to Samurai for that. Samurai, of course, part of the referee crew. Right? Not to be confused with Samurai that's actually in the tournament. Different people. Han Samurai and Samurai Warrior, two different people. Yes, yes indeed. Still no picks or bans to speak of, I'm not sure. These guys might be in chat with each other. I believe they are, in fact. Yes, you can see them. With J Phoenix. Yeah. Okay. I think I know all of these things after having been involved this whole time, but I'm really just here to cast games, to be honest. It was... So last round... Okay, so we've got Norska, Ban, Coast, and Greenskins. Interesting. Two interesting bans. I don't know if I would have banned Coast, but it does kind of make sense to a degree. Norska doesn't trade great into attrition or AP missiles, both of which the Coast do. At the same time, I mean, I feel like burning heads and fast attack, you could probably blend through Coasts before they can do enough damage to you. Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe that's just a personal matchup. He knows this particular situation. You ODM guys can let me know if there's some kind of fear is known for playing Coast. Yeah, I see that, Samurai Warrior. I looked in the Discord and I saw them all sitting in chat together. So, indeed, just to make sure everything is above board once again. And a big shout out to the crew of referees. It's been a lot of work for them. So appreciate you guys. Norska's in an interesting place. They just lack variety more than anything in their roster. Like, their roster really shows its age. They're still pretty good. They're very good actually in the right situation, but they just need an update. Beastmen probably more so than them, but both rosters definitely show their age and have some pretty glaring holes. So Norska needs more lords, definitely needs more lords. Beastmen also need more lords. And Beastmen need some of their kind of marquee monsters that they're missing. Yeah. Norska, they could give them more units as well, potentially in Game 3, depending on some different things. Norska will stand firm to counterpick. Yeah, Norska has good matchups, and they're still a very strong faction, but they're just very one-dimensional to a degree. I mean, kind of. They're rush, but they also can do pretty good hit-and-run fight as well. But it's just the Lord selection is absolutely awful in campaign as well. Like, they literally could add like 2 or 3 new Lord types for them. Like, add like a generic caster Lord, maybe a Famir type Lord, whether that's a melee Famir or a caster Famir, you know. And then also like a Shaman type caster Lord. Maybe they, in Game 3, even, you know, bring in some demon influence, give them a few units from different demon factions, and put like a demon summoner caster Lord. I don't know. You know, they could do some different things for them. Tomb Kings are, and they have 4 lords. Tomb Kings, I don't know. The 2 DLC undead factions, I really don't think need much more than they have. Hosts and Tomb Kings. Four chariots, 2 manticores, and Marathi. It's like Wood Elves going to be the counterpick now for Norska. Interesting. I would take a Sirtha Ek Legendary Lord all the way to the bank, and in fact, I have talked about this in previous videos, what I would do. Literally make him a Legendary Chariot Lord for Norska. Give him... I'd probably even make him a ranged... I would either make him a ranged Lord or a caster Lord, just to give him some unique flavor as well. Like, he would either have a Javelin ranged attack, kind of like Orion, but, you know, just like a regular Foot Lord. And he could also... he'd retain that ranged attack on the Chariot, too. So, you know, it'd kind of be like a better Scourge Runner almost in terms of him on the Chariot with the Javelin. And, yeah, I'd maybe also give Norska a ranged hero, like a Master Hunter ranged hero that, again, either could take a Javelin or maybe a Throwing Axe or whatever, and would give, like, more support style abilities. And then... yeah, he would have a regular chariot mount, and then an Ice Wolf chariot mount would be his kind of unique legendary thing. Would give him obviously frostbite, super fast speed, good armor piercing damage, and it would also update the regular Ice Wolf chariots to be able to shoot 360. Because right now they can't, and it's really dumb. Lotus Moon Clan, there we go. Anyway, that's what I would do for Sirtha Ek and for a Norska update. A few of the things I would do. Again, like a Famir type Lord would be cool. Some kind of Caster Lord, generic Caster Lord would be great. And from there, honestly, I think they're pretty much set. Maybe fix champs with great weapons, like just give them a big charge bonus more than anything, and I think that would mostly fix them. Make them more like charge oriented, make them a little faster and you know, a little more charge oriented. I kind of like the great weapon like Norska units to feel, you know, good on the charge. Kind of like Best Gore Black Orcs, you know. Like, there's a lot of things you could do to potentially buff champs with great weapons, but definitely one of them would be give them bigger charge bonus. Oh yeah, love this music. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't love giving Norska too many more ranged units, but I do think like a Master Hunter hero would make a lot of sense thematically for the faction. And just you know, having some kind of javelin type hero. I don't know. Give him more support oriented abilities. And then it would be like a regular Marauder hero, because right now you have the Skinwolf, Werekin, you have the Shaman Sorcerer, and you have you know, the Famir Balefiend, which is kind of like a cool alternate caster, right? But you don't have just a generic Marauder hero. So I would say make a Marauder Hunter, give him, you know, make him a little unique. Like I said, like a little anti-large javelin, make him like pretty decent ranged, but okay in melee as well. I don't know, maybe that would be too strong. But Rome Total War's music is pretty good, which I also should implement that, honestly, here. It's just, I feel like the medieval music is a little bit more thematic to this game. Warhammer is really good, I will admit. The like faction themes, they did a great job with. I do wish there were a few more, like, you know, it would be nice to have more unique themes from the factions from Game 1. But in general, all of the faction themes definitely fit the kind of atmosphere, if you will, of that given faction. It did a great job on that front, for sure. For me, the old Total War musics are just so nostalgic, so I'm a little bit biased in that way. But Wood Elves versus Norska here will be showcasing shortly, once they finish up deployment. Hunter heroes. Wonder if they'll be able to represent the Dragon Ogre's big kittens. Yeah, I was wondering about that, because I've seen some tabletop, you know, games from back in the day where the cats are definitely a part of them. It seems like that's their like hound type unit, so I'm wondering how they'll represent them. If they'll be like a unit kind of like War Lions, where it's like a hound unit kind of, but more monstrous, lower model count. I don't know. I don't know exactly how they'll be represented. It'll be interesting. No, actually. The most game music, Lotus Moon, is fine to use on YouTube. Like, almost all game music is fine to use on YouTube. Anyway, Norska versus Wood Elves, real quick. We got Beasts of Tashnar, a whole bunch of Wolves, and Skirmish Cav. Just a massive mobile build here. A couple Feral Manticores, Marauder Chariots here. On the flip side, Swift Shiver Shards, 2 of them, a bunch of infantry here. Eternal Guards with shields, which will get devoured by the Norscan Warhounds. Not subject to that anti-large, come in, do nice burst damage. Yeah, immediately we've got Blade Riders also moving in, some Dryads. Swift Shiver Shards are shooting as well as they can, but just this Norska massive push with all these doggos, quick cycle charge in and out. The Wood Elves will respond with those Blade Riders. The issue with going with a risky kind of all-in strategy like this is the Hound's leadership is relatively low. They'll come in, do great damage initially, but the Wood Elves do not rout because of their higher leadership, and they end up losing out on that front. A lot of the Hound units have been routed off already, and just a very quick engagement right away. Yeah. It is a beautiful thing. We do have quite a few Ice Wolves left here over on this flank specifically, but the Glade Riders are trying to move in, and the Ice Wolves do count as large. Their lower model count, larger model size do denote that they, in fact, are large. maybe it's not so obvious, but they do have higher weapon strength. 42 weapon strength is actually quite good. They're going to devour those Glade Riders right there. 2 Manticores drop down and are also making absolute mockery of this line. Unfortunately, the Chariots did get wrecked pretty quickly, and Wulfric also in big trouble. Orion and Ariel both here as leadership core for the Wood Elves. That's very strong. You know, all of this mobile kind of skirmish attack type stuff isn't going to be great at taking them down until the late game, potentially, as long as the Manticores can hopefully stay alive, but we'll see. Right now, they are kind of getting worn down by those Eternal Guards. Wulfric also in danger of getting caught here by these Glade Riders, and then the Death Squad will be able to find him. But Metalcaster's also been routed here. Swift Shiver Shards mostly free to fire. They've taken some damage, but damage output is absolutely ridiculous, so even as they get charged there, they should still get some good damage in the face of those Ice Wolves. Ice Wolves are making contact, though, and yeah, the Manticores over here just grinding on these Eternal Guards. Really not great for them. Need to try and break up that pocket of infantry with some quick terror routes and swing on over here. The Manticores could probably take out Ariel and Orion separately if they both got, you know, a 2v1, but that's unlikely to happen as long as Saphir keeps those two together. So Saphir looking pretty good so far in this match, pulling ahead pretty decisively on the balance of power. Manticores taking more and more damage. They do get the terror route here finally on those Eternal Guards, but even the Dryads actually decent weapon strength will do some damage to those Manticores. Blade Riders sweeping in, nice charge there, finishing off some Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes. 40 charge bonus, definitely quite good. And it looks like Wulfric actually goes down to the power couple over here, so that's an absolute disaster. Should spell the end for Norska. Norska loves a clusterfuck. It's true. Yeah, I mean, they do. Starting to recover a little bit over here, kind of establish somewhat of a presence with Chariot, the Ice Wolves, also the 2 Manticores, relatively healthy still, so we'll see. Might have a potential chance to get back in the game here. He's got some more Warhounds, kind of establishing the swarm and being able to finish off some of these units with this kind of central presence of the Wood Elves. With Orion, Ariel, Race of the Frozen Heart, also their Frostbite. I mean, they see Norska's Frostbite, they come in and say, oh, we also have, you know, 50 melee attack and Frostbite. Because of that Frenzy and the Regiment of Renown status, just absolutely insane melee attack. Yeah, Frenzy is part of their Regiment of Renown status, of course. I mean, regular Dryads do not have Frenzy. They do have immune to Psychology baseline, but here comes Ariel and Orion right in the middle here, breaking up this pocket. Norska quickly crumbles, and that is game. Wood Elves take that one. Very fast attack from Norska, and unfortunately the Hounds just fell apart a little bit. The Swarm is a lot to micro, and, you know, these initial Warhounds did come in on some good charges, but ultimately did not prove super effective. The Manticores weren't quite in a position to get the quick tear routes that he really needed to. And, you know, Saphir also had a decent enough counter build. The Blade Riders were able to help somewhat, and, of course, Swift Shiver Shards also dumping in quite a bit of damage as well. The Dryads and Eternal Guards hold up enough. Actually, Eternal Guards all pay for themselves, which is quite nice. Yeah, Orion also, not a lot to directly challenge him, especially once Wulfric is gone, so it's a great build from Saphir overall in kind of hindsight. Yeah, I like it quite a bit. Yes, indeed. So let's go ahead and switch over. We'll update the scoreboard once again. And we've got a series on our hands, folks. It'll be 1-1. And we're back to it. We'll wait for them to get the maps and faction picks updated. Who let the dogs out? Well, apparently Orion let the dogs out. No, his Hounds of Orion ability actually allows him to take control of the dogs. No, it doesn't, but could you imagine if it did? Yeah, Norska, I was saying this in a video the other day, Norska actually probably has on average the shortest games of any faction because of the nature of the beast. Yeah, the fact of the nature. I mean, they're not a faction that's known for grinding in an attrition fight. You have a few units which have regeneration, but honestly, they're still kind of squishy. So, yeah, Norska, they've hit hard, they hit fast, and they can win, but if they don't win fast, they usually will lose. Interesting to do kind of a study of that, like who has on average the longest and shortest games. If I had to guess, probably Vampire Counts have some of the longest games on average. Yeah. Half factions try to kite them. Yeah, but even still, I feel like if you're kiting Norska, it's still going to be shorter than if you're trying to kite like Greenskins, let's say. Or even Warriors of Chaos will take longer to kite than Norska. GG indeed. Yeah. Norska also, I mean, they're kind of like Beastmen in certain aspects. Like, they can definitely go in that fast attack mode. They don't have Centaurs, which is definitely, I mean, Centaurs are super strong cavalry. Very good for their cost, and perfect vigor and everything. Oh, man, excuse me. Ugh. Get some caffeine or something going here. Okay. Alright, alright. In fact, while we're just hanging out here, let's get some more music going. More fire tracks from the Medieval 2 soundtrack. Norska's in an interesting place. I mentioned already a lot of the changes I would make for Beastmen. I mean, more lord types would also be great. They only have one generic lord type as well, so like multiple generic lord types would be really ideal. Generic caster lords, and then you also do like a Doom Bowl maybe. It's, you know, if it's going to be Tarok's DLC, or if there's going to be a... Again, don't have any insider information, so don't take this as gospel. Let's say, hypothetically, if it is going to be Tarok's, Doom Bowl would make a lot of sense, and maybe just a free LC for Caster Lords, because, you know, they did something similar for Wood Elves. You know, gave them multiple characters. I do think the Beastmen are in need of multiple character types. Generic Gore hero. And yeah. Hopefully they do get a DLC enough to justify their new units. I can't see them not doing it at some point, at least. Whether it comes sooner rather than later, it's hard to say. I know they do say there's one more Warhammer 2 DLC, but there won't be any details on that until probably after June, which is tough. But hopefully we'll get more news on Warhammer 3 soon. You know, there's always that opportunity as well. Rome Remastered kind of marketing period is almost over, and you've got to think they might be cooking up something for Three Kingdoms as well. And, you know, if you just look evidence-based on how the marketing campaigns have generally worked for Creative Assembly, you know, for their marketing campaigns, there's generally not too much overlap, so it's kind of like as one campaign wraps up, you can almost expect there to be an announcement for something else, but we'll see. See what's coming down the pipe. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. Anyway, looks like we've got Greenskins. Saphir going to be looking to go Greenskins this time. No, Nate Garrett. No. I don't want to set any expectations because I have no idea. I'm, you know, same as you guys, completely in the dark. I mean, a lot of people have speculated, and it does make sense that there would be a Beastmen update, given that that's what everyone wants, or at least a lot of people are asking for. I don't know if that's what everyone wants, but a lot of people are asking for, right? And they do seem to be the most kind of left behind faction at the current moment. Their campaign is really just in a terrible place, to be honest. Okay, so Greenskins ban Greenskins mirror and vampire counts. Interesting. That's a way to do it. Scratch. Is that a Skaven character? No. If that's a Skaven character, no. No more Skaven DLCs. No more Skaven DLCs, please. I would prefer, honestly, Beastmen versus Lizardmen. Lizardmen are actually missing, like, you know, Troglodon is one kind of marquee, you know, big seller unit they could add, and then just, you know, add whatever else. Add out the DLC in terms of units. Lizardmen DLC units already aren't amazing. You just play vanilla builds for the most part. The Dwarfs, honestly, the Dwarfs are kind of got shafted in that they were one of the first to get quote-unquote reworked, and like they gave them the rune crafting system, which was awesome, but the Dwarfs do need more, I think. they're kind of on the list. They're just, you know, not as high on the list as Beastmen and Norska, I would say. They're probably number 3, though, honestly. Hopefully we'll see some kind of... You know what would be cool is if, let's say, hypothetically, in Game 3, I think Chaos Dwarfs are a pretty good bet for a DLC faction, just because their roster is relatively narrow and focused. Like, it's not like they could add them and then add more DLCs to them. So I would think that Chaos Dwarfs are probably going to be a pretty good DLC, and it would be nice to give the actual Dwarfs a rework, you know, maybe, let's say, at the same time. Lizardmen have too many legendary lords already. I know. But the thing is, they even have more they could add. Right? Like, there's the Skink Oracle dude. Yeah, there's like another Saurus character, I'm pretty sure. He's like maybe like a Temple Guard dude. I don't know. There's more they could add. Bretonia is going to be the counterpick for Greenskins. So, another classic matchup for the Green Tide. Tomb King item shop thing, copy paste. Yeah, to a degree. They also got Giant Slayers, which again, 1 unit, not that big of a whoop. So they could definitely do more. That's what I'm saying. They could definitely do more with the Dwarf campaign. The same, I mean, Vampire Count's got the Bloodline system too, which I would never ever advocate for, you know, Vampire Counts to get anything nice because they're terrible. But if, let's say, hypothetically, you were to give them something, I mean, I could see them getting an update as well in Game 3, but at least they've given them something, right? Yeah, it would be nice to rework the grudge system as well. Like, they recently reworked the Death Knight mechanic for Hellebron to be a little bit less punishing, or the Blood Voyage, or whatever it is. Maybe they could also rework the grudges so that, you know, when you have low grudges, it gives you even more positive effects, but it's maybe less punishing as you get more grudges to satisfy. Like, just when you have low grudges, it's, like, very powerful, right? So, I think that would be maybe a good, like, minor rework. They wouldn't even have to do a full rework, but just a rebalancing to the Dwarf campaign that would make the grudges mechanic just a little bit better. Maybe give you better rewards, too, for satisfying the grudges? I don't know. Just a thought. Hello there. These guys are now loading in, so switch back to the mid-screen. Okay. Okay, and they are loading in. Let's see what they got. Elangui is going to be the map this time. Interesting map, a little bit asymmetric, but it's definitely a classic staple of tournament play. Let's see what they can do. Belgar no longer has a grudge with his landlord. Gets his deposit back. There we go. Yeah, man. Belgar's rent payments are brutal. Absolutely brutal. Greenskins versus Bretonnia. Tale as old as time. In Elangui, too, very thematic map for Bretonnia to be fighting off the Greenskins. Angui. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not French. Probably butchering the pronunciation. Wish we could designate our own grudges instead of having to eat vampire grudges. That'd be nice. Rusty Spurs. Yeah. No, unfortunately. I mean, I should say fortunately for me. Not getting a wide-out blizzard. We did have some snow a couple days ago here, though. Maybe you're getting ours, our leftovers. Just got back from Florida, which was, yes, absolutely beautiful. Got some sun, soaked up some nice vitamin D. Beautiful. It is that time of year, though, where, you know, random April snowstorms will just roll through, ruin your whole day. Longueuil. Probably offending all the French speakers in the chat, which is, you know, my apologies. Okay, so let's take a look here. Of course, Fey double paladin for Kalarman here. We've got men at arms. We've got a bunch of pox arrows, knights of the realm, and questing knights. So a big old Bretonnian army. No terror though, which could potentially be an issue against the Greenskins. We got Wolf Rider archers, Spider Rider archers in the center. Grom did bring in some immune psychology, which again, no terror here, so that's actually a loss. Giant River Troll Hag. Savage Orcs backed up by Orc Boar Boy Biggins. Very nice anti-large AP and charge bonus. Night Goblins. Oh, Goblins. regular boar boys mixed in here as well. Let's see how it goes. Knights of the Realm, they're just going to be charging straight in. This is a risky biscuit. Oh no, they actually missed their charge. Get charged by the Boar Riders. That's bad. The Boar Riders do get poisoned a little bit though. Enchantress going to dive in straight up with the Paladins and go directly after the River Troll Hag. They've got peasant mobs moving in. Archers, peasant bowmen shooting up the Savage Orcs. Savage Orcs so far not charged in. The Boar Boys do switch over though and start to go after some of these questing knights who are fighting the Boar Biggins in sustained combat, which is definitely going to benefit them. But look at this. In the center, the River Troll Hag gets absolutely canned by the double Paladin. And the Fey Enchantress, all very strong characters. Big old aspect of Dread Knight to cause terror on everything. Not really sure about that, but oh no, Dwellers Below. Oh, the Dread Dwellers Below going to be called up on the blob here. It gets quite a few units in its grasp. Going to do some really good damage, especially to those Boy Biggins there. Fanatics being unleashed, though, through the lines. Those are going to get really nice contact on those questing knights. Wow, and the Knights of the Realm as well. Comet going to be dropped over here as the Boar Boys and the Savage Orcs push through. We'll get a few of their models. Does a tiny bit of damage there, but not too much in the back line. The Archers getting harassed by Wolf Rider Archers. Wolf Rider Archers now pulling away there. Mangy Marauders will be able to get a little bit of chip damage in with their armor piercing. In the meantime, this flank completely collapsed though for Bretonnia. Lots of peasants and men-at-arms routing off. Not too big of an issue as long as the hero squad can stay healthy, which they are in the center here, just draining out these Savage Orcs, who did get a little bit of a damage spike from Grom there. The Grate in his ear, giving him extra melee attack and weapon damage. Doing some nice damage to those questing knights. But again, that Mortis Fey effect will start to prove very dangerous for the Greenskins in the long run. Meanwhile, in the periphery engagements, they are able to clean up pretty well with the Wolf Riders. Rider Archers now chasing off the Peasant Bowmen. Yeah. Knights here getting terrified. Like we had another cast of that, what is it, aspect of Dread Knight somewhere in there. Didn't quite catch on who it was, but Favor of the Fae was used on them, so that's unfortunate. But the Paladins do come in, now shut down the River Troll Hag. That is pretty bad for the Greenskins. You can see them getting a little bit behind on the balance of power as that character is shut down. Grom, though, still relatively healthy, helping to finish off some of those questing knights. So most of the cavalry for Bretonnia is gone. I say that, and there's still several units of knights over here. A couple Knights of the Realm and questing knights. Oh man, risky business for these Wolf Rider Archers to be getting that close, but they do pull away, trying to pull the knights away from that formation here. Potentially counter collapse with some other resources. Got plenty of skirmish cav left, but how much can the skirmish cav actually do in this kind of a desperate situation? Haven't even succeeded in chasing off everything that they potentially could have, but they're still here. Mangy Marauders can definitely contribute some pretty good damage, and Grom's no pushover. Alright, and good squad. There we go. Yes. Let's see. Enchantress, Paladins could potentially get us around here on Grom. He's got to be careful running around through this infantry here. And look, yeah, the cavalry immediately turns, try and corner him. He's going to take some damage here, but if he potentially pulls these units away from their support, that could be pretty beneficial as well. You can see the Savage Orcs and Wolf Rider Archers now moving in. Nice charge from the Knights of the Realm straight into the Savage Orcs. Their low defense and armor will mean they'll take quite a bit of damage, but they are going to stand up and punch back. Another unit of Boy Biggins in here as well. They've recovered their leadership. Get a nice counter charge, anti-large AP. Issue is, yeah, the Fey Enchantress, once she comes in, starts to drain them. Splash attacks from the Paladins as well. They'll just straight up eat models of the Boy Biggins here. Goblins come in for some support, but it's a pretty desperate situation. Nice heal from the Fey Enchantress. Hits all the units in this pocket that it possibly can. Definitely very efficient on that front, but Grom charges in. He's actually going to do some pretty good damage in here. And these 116 goblins, actually, just the fact there's so many of them at this point, will hopefully prove relatively decisive. They haven't taken too much damage yet, but they are definitely starting to get killed. And of course, the Fey Drain effect is absolutely brutal on this big blob fight right here. But if once the Bretonnian support is broken, and nope, Saphir looks like he's going to throw in the towel there. So Promised too thick to be a pushover. Unfortunately, did not prove thick enough here. And Kalamon takes the win on that one. Enchantress, massive drain damage here. Yeah, just super dangerous. You really need tools to take her out directly if you're going to play this matchup at all. And I just don't think that Saphir really had sufficient tools in this build to do so. I mean, he was able to limit the knights all very well. Definitely a good anti-cavalry build. Boarboy Biggins doing a decent job here. Yeah, the Orc Boarboys also trade reasonably well. Savage Orcs do like to pick up here and just deal high DPS to basically everything. Spider Rider, Wolf Rider archers are basically always solid. Mage Marauders especially doing some really nice damage, but lacking a little bit in character killing power, which is sorely needed in this matchup. Like even just what is that? Goblin Big Boss on a Spider, on a Wolf with the debuff to help kill the Fey Enchantress specifically. Just, find an opportunity and go in and assassinate her. That will turn this match up around. But such as it is, Kalamon going to go up 2-1 on the series. And we'll get back to it. Yeah, you could go with, what's it called? Skulkers. Skulkers are decent in that matchup. It is pretty micro-intensive to use them correctly, but they can be very, very good. Maybe you trade out one of those Boar Riders, the regular Boar Riders, or one or two of them for Skulkers. But also, allow you to reallocate some funds elsewhere, like, again, bringing a Gabo Big Boss. Greenskins Forum Squad. There we go. People saying that the Greenskins don't need any nerfs, which I don't help by also somewhat agreeing with them. I know that's not a super popular opinion, but it's true. I do think the Greenskins are mostly fine. Like, they do need some small nerfs, but it's not actually as much as people think. Yeah, but Faye is also in that boat, though, where she could use some nerfs. I honestly think... I'm potentially going to put together a post to just advocate for basically all Mortis effects to be removed from the game, more or less. 'Cause I just think they're boring and unfun. I don't know. Maybe they would never actually do that, but... Like, I really just think having, like, very impactful debuff auras is a better way of doing things. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that, but what if they just, like, let's say the Plague Furnace, Fey Enchantress, and even the Mortis Engine itself just changed it so it was like a very significant debuff to some kind of stat in an AoE, like maybe melee defense for the Mortis Engine, maybe you do like minus 15 anti-large aura for the Fey Enchantress or something crazy. Like, it was something very impactful, but still not just a straight-up damage effect. Plague Furnace, again, maybe like a minus 10 melee attack or something crazy. Loons. They've increased the price of 8 peak loons by 50 in like 10 different patches, I swear. Well, maybe not. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I swear like 3 or 4 times they've increased the loons cost, and they still are just so good. The loons, I don't know. Loons are very micro-intensive, though, is the thing. Like, the Fanatics casts are very, very micro-intensive. The 8 peak loonies Yeah, very good, but... Armor debuff. Yeah. I agree. Yeah, that's why I like armor or melee defense Aristo is what I was thinking, or possibly a combination of both even. Just because, like, melee defense, again, because of vampire count's kind of lowish melee attack, like Graveguard of Griffins sometimes have a hard time even against certain elite halberds. Well, maybe you have it debuff melee defense, right? And the Fey Enchantress, I was thinking definitely an anti-large, right? That lowers opponent's anti-large, so your cavalry can operate a little bit more effectively, especially against, like, low-tier spears and stuff. For the Skaven, you just make it, in general, minus melee attack, because then, again, you're kind of playing into your Skaven's lower stats. They don't get hit as much, and you can kind of drag them down through more attrition, more numbers. No melee defense. Land a hit on everything. Yeah, I mean, to a degree, but I don't know. Some kind of defensive stat. Help them break up elite stuff, I agree with. I just think it would be better for the game overall if those drains were not a thing. You can use Dance Macabre if you really want to use that effect. Yeah, but that requires Winds of Magic, see. What if I just want to summon 15 zombies? I mean, you know. Or use Wind of Death one time. Yeah, Wood Elves versus Empire. We're gonna see this again. This is a popular matchup, definitely. A lot of players will pick into it from both sides, honestly, because like Empire, I feel like is in a little bit of a weird place right now. They're not as good as they used to be in this matchup, definitely, but they still have pretty good tools here. Wood Elves also have pretty good tools, so it's interesting. We'll see how it goes. Aristo, I am a secret Vampire Counts main. To be honest, like, at least lately, in terms of factions I've been playing most, like, they are honestly in the top 5, probably. Because I really do enjoy cav builds, and guess who has some of the strongest cav builds in the game? You know, the ones that can regenerate models on their cavalry, believe it or not, and have amazing meat shield support units. Granted, lack of range kind of sucks, but it's, you know, no big deal. Gonna play a cav rush, you don't want to shoot people, mostly. Okay, let's transition away from the screen once again as they do their deployments. I definitely think vampire counts are underrated as well. It's not just you that hates Greenskins. Oh, I know, a lot of people hate Greenskins. I do think they could use some nerfs, some small nerfs, but I don't think they're as bad as a lot of people think they do, which is fine. You know, people are allowed to have different opinions. Off is alone is vampire counts hatred? I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure other people hate them as well. I just have a general bias against undead, right? So there's that. Even though it's kind of funny, in the World Championship, like, Coast and Tomb Kings actually both did really bad in general, so, you know, how good are they actually? No opinions. No opinions allowed. Just keep a bloated corpse or two up your sleeve. There we go. Yeah, that's all you need, really. Yeah, whereas vampire counts did way worse in 3. Like Coast. Vampire Coast just they had, I don't know if they actually had that many games, but they got crumped generally, which a lot of people are happy with, myself included. I don't know. I need to check up on some Coast. I just think that people are potentially not playing Coast correctly. Like, we see double White King Scabscrath all the time, but we don't see double Gunnery White Scabscrath that much, which is very odd to me. Anyway, these guys are just about ready here. There we are. Coast had the least amount of games. Yeah, I was going to say, not that many people are playing Coast right now. They're kind of in a little bit of a weird place. Yeah, you really can't play it like how you used to. You got to play new ways. I've been playing the triple gun crab triangle for a while, and you can take Noctilus instead. I like having the gun crab triangle with Scabscraths. Double Scab, interesting. Yeah, I didn't get to catch that whole faction war. I think I did see that, but I don't know why. Like, I see people not do it. It's like, this is probably the best way to play Counts, or Coast right now, rather. All right. Two 2-1 series right now with Carlman versus Saphir. Luther, Harkon, Spirit Leech Caster, and a Terragoose pretending you're vampire counts. There we go. That just sounds horrible. The issue is you don't have any corpse cards. You do have fell bats, though. I guess you could just take bats too. Just, hey, I'm a vampire too. Look, Vlad. All right, so here we go. Empire Force coming in. We got Pistoliers up front, very nice. Got some Empire Knights, Knights of the Blazing Sun. Holy, just all-in cav build here from Saphir. We've got Volkmar the Grim, Bright Wizard. Much more traditional build from Wood Elves. We've got Dryka, a bunch of Dryads, Eternal Guards, Starfire Shafts, and probably some Hagbane tips mixed in if I had to guess. No Hagbane tips? Really? Where's the Hagbanes? Don't got any poison here, which is potentially a mistake. Even just one Hagbane tip definitely would have been worth it. But anyway, we've got some spears, one unit of Wild Riders, Blade Riders with spears, that is. Oh yeah, just the erect full cav build. Volkmar not on his chariot. He leads his cavalry on horseback, on his barded warhorse. True hero of the Empire. Oh yeah. Here come the knights. And just kidding. Nope. Let's see though. This is not going to go great for these Empire Knights probably. Just a lot of armor-piercing missiles from the Wood Elves, which is probably going to be pretty decent. Also a lot of anti-large AP cav. So, not sure about this. Not sure about this. Horsemar, right? Does get a nice burning head over on that side, though, to start to shut down some of those Eternal Guards. Also, yeah, it does some okay damage to the Dryads as well. Double Pendulum ability, or sorry, double Wind ability. Both Burning Head and Pendulum there. Knights of Blazing Sun, very good charge into those Dryads. Empire breaking through certain fronts, but also taking extreme damage on basically all of their units, which is really not good. Some of the Knights do get home back in the back line here, trying to get after those Blade Guards with Starfire Shafts, but you can see here one unit of Knights of Blazing Sun already done. That was even the one being supported by Volkmar, so already not looking great. These Knights of Blazing Sun here getting caught up by the Wood Elf Cavalry. That low melee defense will definitely cost them, but some of the Knights finally get loose in the back line here, going after the Starfire Shafts. I just don't think there's enough meat on this Empire build. Yeah, I was going to say he has no chance with such a build. I don't want to call it too early, but that's a lot of armor piercing, a lot of anti-large, and a lot of numbers of stuff that's going to be hard to just shock through. Yeah, Empire is done, I think. Yeah, I think that's going to be it. And probably the series for Kalarman. Let's see, nice burning head, though. Probably generate some okay value. Those overrun somewhat into the other Blade Guards there. Actually, yeah, it kills off a few of them. Knights are still online in certain places, but Pistoliers here skirmishing away, trying to do whatever they can against those Wild Riders. I mean, I guess it's not completely over yet, to be honest. There are still Knights charging around various places, getting some good shock hits in, trying to clean up those Blade Guards. Blade Guards are taking damage, but at the same time, I just don't think it's enough left in the tank in terms of HP. Just not enough. Not enough meat on them bones, so to speak. A little bit of a Flaming Sword of Ruin there. Also spent quite a bit on the casters, taking them up in the air, or at least the Firecaster taking him up in the air on the Pegasus, which definitely ended up being pretty risky. Drika comes in. He's got good enough combat stats to just fight Volkmar in melee here. Their thick cheeks. Oh yeah. Dream Mama's got it going on, and she also is going to get thrown back somewhat by that Soulfire. Volkmar is able to kind of escape there somewhat. Go after these Wild Riders here. We've got Pistoliers charging in melee against Glade Guard. You know it's desperate times when that's happening. But yeah, it's a risky thing to do for sure, going all in on the full cav. Oh, excuse me, not something I would recommend. I mean, I would do something like this, but I would at least take a handful of infantry units. You need something. You need some kind of meat to chew on. And with that, Kalarman takes the series. And what a build, man. I admire the courage, let's say. But yeah, this is too much. I think even the spend on the casters, like if I'm gonna go with a build where I try and take like 6 to 8 cavalry units with the Empire, I'm gonna take a very minimalist caster, possibly even just on foot with only 1 or 2 spells, just to really try and maximize other support units. I would also probably take at least a couple of infantry here, some State Troop Spearmen to provide some kind of screen for, you know, Wild Riders and some kind of missile shield and everything. But GG's. GG's. Kalarman moves on. And that is going to be that. Let's see who's up next. Got another best of 5 to get to. So we'll switch this on over. Yeah, amazing showing for Saphir for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Kalarman, of course, big congrats there. Moves on to face another clanmate, which I believe is Showtime. Yeah, so Kalarman versus Showtime in the next one. Another ODM interclan fight. Let's see, who's up next? Alright, so we're going to jump in with Evenstar and Slayer. And let's see here. Apologies, just smacked my mic a little bit there. Sorry about that. Alright. Waiting on a bit of info here. Alright. Let's see what we got going on over here. Okay. Hey, vampire counts quick battles? No. When will the final get played? I believe next weekend is when the grand finals will be. Again, this is the round of 8 currently, so... Or not round of 8, there are... Yeah. Next is... Like this, it's the selection of 8, right? So there's 16 here, and then next time it goes to 8, and then we've got our final 4. So this is the Sweet 16, you know, if you're familiar with your typical March Madness style terminology. Okay, let me just check something real quick here. Apologies, guys. Okay, so it's 1 over Evenstar. Okay. Okay, so we now jump in this one partway through. Okay. Hey, thank you very much, Kieran. Much appreciated. Feel free to stop by anytime. It's a great community, man, for sure. So let's see what we got going on here. We'll see. It seems there's a little bit of a question going on right now, so we might be waiting for a little bit of time here. Sit back, relax for just a minute. I'm actually going to consider lunch at some point soon. I've been streaming for a few hours. I'm getting a little bit hungry, but we will persevere. Might just order something, have it delivered, and yeah, maybe take a little break and eat for a sec. But I definitely want to continue streaming as much as I can for today. It's kind of one of the few days I have the next week or so to stream, so I don't know. I might be doing some Rome Remastered at some point later in the week. Or maybe dip my toe into the Barbarian Invasion a little bit. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, yes, indeed. Hopefully all are doing well. It's been an absolute pleasure so far. Yeah, let's see. Another ODM here versus VM Evenstar. And just waiting on some things here. Okay. So, Slayer's going with Beastmen. Evenstar on Greenskins. What was the first game? I don't have it here. If you guys want to check, I believe it's on. I don't know if you can actually scrub back on Twitch, but my son HW is also casting right now, and I believe he had the first game in this series on his channel. Go ahead and swap this over for deployment. And let's see here. All right. All right, all right. Okay. And they're loaded in now, just getting their deployment.
I'm just a little bit distracted here on something on the side. Apologize, guys. But let's see what they got going on. Greenskins versus Beastmen should be an interesting one. Very straightforward matchup. Both players going to be trying to rumble with each other, no doubt. But as for... yeah, I mean, a lot of people would say Greenskins have the advantage there, but at the same time, Beastmen, if you know what you're doing, can definitely punch very hard in this matchup. So we'll see what route they go with. See what they can do. Okay. And it looks like they are getting started here now for the Greenskins. We've got Wolf Rider Archers, Spider Rider Archers, got some Savage Orcs, Boar Boys, and a bunch of Orc Boys through the center here. Got a Giant River Troll Hag, Grom the Paunch. Looks like a whole bunch of Beastmen in terms of Gore Herd, Best of Gore Herd up front. Centaurs are throwing axes as well. Ungor Spearman Herd here. Some Wolf Rider Archers out on the flanks. Once again, being screened by Centaurs. Morgar, of course, leading the way. We've got a Brave Shaman Lord Wild. Again, no terror. Doesn't he have the Cygor summon? I forget the actual emblems here. Does not have the Cygor summon. Could potentially be a mistake, but instead just looking for those Vile Tides. Savage Orc, Biggins come in. Good charge on the Best Gore Herd and a nasty cast of the Fanatics down through the line there. We'll do some friendly fire as well, but definitely good value on that. Savage Orcs here being kind of kited through. A little bit countercharge from multiple directions. That's not great for them. Centaurs also collapsing the flank there. That Bestigor just getting hard crumped in the front line is pretty rough. Gore Herds also trade pretty badly in this infantry engagement. The Greenskins just taking a pretty decisive infantry crump frontline engagement, as you would expect in a straight-up head-to-head fight. Greenskins would definitely win in these other engagements where the Beastmen were able to kind of swing things a little more in their favor, get more asymmetric engagements. Things are not going so well for the Greenskins. Orc Boys getting absolutely dragged down. Gore Spearman Herd contributing nicely as well. Gore Herd's going to sweep up and around, get into these Fanatics here, try and prevent them from casting into the cavalry there. That is a nice little catch. They'll do some good damage on the charge. Centaurs are throwing axes, fading back. Unfortunately, that does leave the Ungor Raiders kind of high and dry there, but Grom now with some Spirit Leech on the Brave Shaman gets caught up, and then Morgar also moves in on the side there. Fortunately for them, Grom can just maneuver away and continue to regenerate, but yeah, Centaurs are throwing axes, chucking said axes in. Wah has been popped, so a nice little timing burst for the Greenskins, but the kite is on now, and this pocket of the Beastmen that they've formed here, relatively strong. We've got some Chaos Spawn pulled up at this point as well. They're going to move in. Savage Orc Biggins with that Wah active will absolutely beat down, but you can see here, Grom does get a little bit surrounded by some Centaurs and takes some damage from Morgar. Nothing too intense, probably no big issue at all. The Centaurs are throwing axes also did lose quite a few of their models, which is not amazing, but as long as they can stay on the move and keep kind of mopping up troops out in the periphery, that'll be quite advantageous. And a really nice Vile Tide there, just detonating on the Savage Orc Biggins. That is going to be an ideal target to use that on. Unfortunately, the Brave Shaman Lord Wild, not long for this world, as he does get Spear Leeched and now getting rear charged by the Troll Hag as well. Centaurs do once again collapse though, and are able to kind of you know, get rid of those Boar Riders. They might also be able to get us around, get some good damage on the Troll Hag and on Grom as well there. Beastmen actually a little bit ahead on the bounce power right now because of the spawn summon timing. And of course, Morgar also counts significantly for the balance of power, but we'll see. Greenskins support unit starting to run a little bit thin, and if it comes down to just Grom and the River Troll Hag with no support units, the Beastmen will be able to sweep them. But the summon's starting to run out a little bit here. Centaurs with throwing axes, regular Centaurs. Again, going after the Boar Boys together, trying to take out the mobility units for the Greenskins. Without that Vile Tide, it's going to be a little bit tough, but the Greenskins infantry took enough damage that just through incidental kind of cycle charging and so on, so forth, they could probably get taken out. But here, nice force concentration from Evenstar gets a lot of the Wolf Rider, Archers, Spider Riders together, push away the Centaurs with throwing axes, kind of break their superior presence there, try and bail out some of that cavalry, bring them back into fight. Ungor Raiders now have an opportunity to fire, though, try and pay for themselves a little bit. Centaurs do overextend somewhat, and once again, getting soloed and taken down by multiple units from multiple directions. A little bit tough. So Centaurs do go down there, but there's still a pretty strong presence of Beastmen here. Morgr relatively healthy. The Centaurs with throwing axes, also decent amount of ammunition left. Shooting in at the Savage Orc Biggins, really nice value for the Ungor Raiders here. And we've got some Savage Orc Biggins just kind of waddling out in the distance there, completely away from the formation. So Beastmen, at this point, just trying to move in and take out whatever units they can get their hands on. It's going to be a little bit risky to try and jump on these Savage Orc Biggins here with these Centaurs. Yeah, they're going to take a lot of damage in that engagement. That's pretty rough for them. But at least the best score in these Gore Herds are here somewhat to follow up. Let's see if they actually get any benefit from their charge bonus, or if they also just get cleaned. Yeah, just get cleaned by the Savage Orc Biggins. A little bit unfortunate there. And some of the mobility advantage of the Beastmen starting to wear away as the Greenskins Skirmish Cav starts to tell in terms of value. Spider Rider Archers here chasing. You really don't want the Centaurs to get caught by them if you can help it, given the Wolf Riders also in support there. But the regular Centaurs do rally their leadership long enough to come and just briefly screen for the Centaurs with throwing axes. At least try and delay that engagement there. More Centaurs moving over to try and keep those mobility units alive. This Savage Orc Biggin still just on an absolute journey trying to get back to the fight while these other Savage Orc Biggins get killed by a Morgr. Centaurs finally form up. Will it be enough? They do get a nice little counter charge in there, but the Grate on his ear, nice buff for the Greenskins, giving them extra weapon damage, and melee attack do take out the Centaurs with that little push. Nice timely support buff, and with that, Greenskins are able to take a lead on the balance of power pretty decisively. Not look too good for the Beastmen at this point. Looks like the Greenskins Light Cav probably takes the day here, but we'll see. Beastmen tend to be out of gas in the late game. That is true. I mean, believe it or not, Morgr can actually fight Grom to a degree, but it's still going to be kind of tough. So yeah, not ideal for sure. Let's see. Sorry, just get distracted. Yeah, the Centaurs move in, throwing axes out of ammunition left. Might be able to clean up some of these low goblin units here. Let's see. They are still fresh, of course, but a Spirit Leech on them. Spiteful Spirit Leech from the Troll Hag. She herself is fighting Morgr at this point, so that's pretty backbreaking. That's kind of the last healthy support units for the Beastmen, and now it's Morgr all alone. Big sad. Oh, excuse me. Yeah. Let's get in close and watch Morgr as he just dukes it out with all these nasty Savage Orcs. And that should be game. Greenskins OP and unbeatable confirmed. You might think, honestly. It was just interesting game for sure. Slayer kind of got the south end of that engagement initially. I almost think maybe you just delay that initial engagement, try and kite back a little bit, maybe get the Greenskins a little bit out of position. But all the Savage Orc Biggins performed very well, which is kind of the key to victory for this. Vile Tides were not quite on point for Slayer as quick as it could have been. I mean, he did a reasonable amount of damage with it, but yeah, even Star had a pretty strong build overall here. The Fanatics also, one of them at least, generated really nice value. Skirmish Cav also does a good job for the most part. War Riders, I mean, they're just kind of here, but they do disrupt at the very least. On Slayer's side, I mean, Morgr, Spawn obviously do something, but these kind of more elite infantry here just get absolutely crunked, and I almost wonder you just trade this out for more mobility, maybe even take a chariot. The Razorgore chariot's not a terrible idea in this matchup against Greenskins infantry. I don't know. Ungor Raiders could have performed a little bit better. I mean, one of them did pay for itself, but Centaurs generally did a very good job, maybe even going heavier in the Centaurs, right? You, again, cut this more elite infantry and just go wider in the mobility game. I don't know. You do want some meat for the Greenskins to chew on, but it's a tough one for sure. If they get the charge, maybe, but at the same time, like the Boar Biggin, or the Savage Orc Biggins punch back so hard, I would think it's just not ideal. So, yep. Let's go ahead and get this one updated here. Excellent. We've been going almost 3 hours, guys. Hard to believe. Okay, so it looks like we've got 2 more series after this. Ice Power versus Newport and Prussian versus Alfredino. So we got quite some time. Did order some food, so at some point I'm going to take a break briefly and just eat real quick. I might bow out briefly for that. Okay. Yep. Greenskins. So Slayer goes Greenskins, ban counts lizards, and the map is Iron Sand Desert. Even Stargurt's gonna go for Dark Elves. Dark Elves versus Greenskins, potentially a very interesting matchup. Dark Elves can definitely do some things here, but some people would say this is definitely Greenskins favored. Catch you later, Aristo. Thanks for stopping by. Much appreciated. Always good to see you. Anyway, looking good so far. Oh yes, don't forget to stand up, stretch your legs, keep yourself hydrated. Don't want anyone passing out on us here. Ooh, excuse me, I'm a little tired though. No, it's a little tiring sometimes, I'll be honest. Streaming takes a lot of brain power, wears me out. It's so much fun though, honestly. Don't want to stop. Been gone for too long. I mean, it wasn't even that long, it was only a week, but I feel like it was a long time because I didn't do any casting during that time, even though you guys had videos for every day. And Greenskins. You will see a lot of Green Tide, that's for sure. I'm surprised we haven't seen any Skaven yet. Honestly, Skaven are still very strong as well. I'm surprised we haven't seen any. This is the first Dark Elves as well. I haven't seen any High Elves. I think we've seen basically everyone else. No Tomb Kings, no Coast, actually, as well, which is fine. You know, undead don't exist. Neither do Skaven, so it's cool.
More subs for me. Hey, much appreciated. I am very close to 15K, which is pretty cool to see, you know. My channel, honestly, it's grown a lot more than I thought it would ever get to, like, even at this point. Yeah, so close to 15K, though. Thank you all so much for coming out, though. I know we've had quite a few people kind of filtering in and out of the chat here. It's always a pleasure for all of you guys to join. Some of my favorite people. This is one of my favorite things to do, honestly, these days. So, big thanks to all of you. Just getting something cleared up here. Getting on Slayer to finish up with his army selection. I do plan on doing some more overview videos coming up soon as well. I mean, it's been quite a while since I've done any of those, but like Coast, I think, is in a position now where I could potentially, I do need to play with them a little bit more, but yeah, they're in a position where I could potentially do them. Just looking at my like guides series right now, playlist randomly. Yeah. You need to kind of reorder this as well. But the overview series, I've done a few. Some of them are a little bit outdated. Honestly, I could update them. But I mean, like Vampire Coast is one I could do. Yeah, Greenskins is also probably one I could do. Warriors of Chaos and Norska, I'm probably going to wait on those until Game 3, but like I don't expect Greenskins Coast yet changes anytime soon, so anyway, a little bit of a tangent there, but 15 means you quit your day job? No, unfortunately. Like right now, I would need quite a bit more income from my channel in order to quit my day job, and it's just not really realistic with the amount of views I get on a per video basis. I mean, there's maybe things I could do go more into the clickbait realm, and if maybe I, you know, hired an editor, like there's different things I could do to potentially increase the quality. Maybe that would get me more views, but honestly, I'm fine to keep kind of chugging along how it is for the time being. Honestly, with Game 3 coming out, I will hopefully get a big influx of new viewers. But yeah, as it stands right now, not really any chance of that happening realistically. I get paid well enough for my day job, and it's part-time, so it does allow me to continue to work on the channel more or less as much as I want. Not exactly as much as I want, but kind of just depends on the time of the season. Thanks, appreciate it, Morse. Yes. That would be great, honestly, someday, if that were the case where I could take this full-time, but in some sense, I almost wouldn't want to. Like, it's kind of nice having a day job, because then I can really just focus on doing the content that I enjoy the most, rather than feeling like I have to do certain things. But if any of you guys are interested, I do have a Patreon. You can donate there as well, of course. Oh man, Orion Stream's been having a rough time today. Getting dropped from games. Hey, what's up, Happy Puppy? Good to see you. And I check my DMs here. Okay. Oh, okay. I did not know that. No, no one had let me know. Morris just told me to join this one, so... Yeah.
No problem. I will refer you guys over onto HW after this, so we'll be ending with this one. It's fine. Actually, I just ordered lunch anyway. I was going to take a break because I've been streaming for 3 hours. But yeah, my son HW is currently streaming on Twitch. I'll hand you guys off there after we're done with this match. Yeah, Moore's invited me in on this one, so it's all good. Moore's okay, so Moore's is actually telling me here. So okay, so I might jump in if this one goes to 2-1. Then I might jump in and start the next series just so that we can keep these things rolling. If this goes to a 3-0, then I will be signing off for today, but we are getting started on the match. Let me just, oops, there we go. Okay, so Dark Elves versus Greenskins for Even Star here. We've got Black Dragon and Malekith on a dragon, so all in with the dragon build. Not something you see every day. We do have Doom Divers immediately teeing off. I would like to see the Doom Divers switch to Malekith. That big flying target, the Doom Divers will apply consistent anti-air pressure, and they'll be accurate enough to basically always hit Malekith. But Skirmish Cav diving down, we've got a Goblin Great Shaman on the ground. Does a Vindictive Glare, pokes Malekith. We've got plenty of infantry, Night Goblins, Savage Orc Biggins, some Orc Boys, Boar Boys as well. Let's see, a little bit of Gaze of Malice on those Savage Orc Biggins. We'll do some really solid damage. But the Dragon's also taking damage. At this point, you can see that the Doom Divers, I think, are probably focusing the Black Dragon. Really, either the Black Dragon or Malekith are going to be good targets for the Doom Divers to focus. And you can see how this one's getting consistently hit there. Brutal breath attack. But yeah, I mean, the Doom Divers are excellent. They're probably the best anti-air artillery in the game. You can see how they kind of track the Dragon sideways through the air, just doing absolutely devastating damage. Then the Goblin Great Shaman comes in with the countercharge on the ground to get Malekith. All the Daka being poured in here as well, so this is potentially a really bad situation for Malekith to get caught in. He's going to pop a Soul Stealer, which will hit a bunch of Cav. Nope, looks like the Cav, oh, barely not able to escape, unfortunately. Does hit the Goblin Great Shaman as well, so nice kind of approach here. Boar Boy Biggin's going to be charging in, or sorry, regular Boar Boys rather. Also trying to screen these Dark Riders in the back. Not, you know, line camping. Technically, if you're camping up against the rocks, I believe it's line camping, but there's still plenty of space for the Dark Elves to try and get up and around there. Doom Divers are still applying pressure, but now the Dark Elf Light Cavalry has mostly got home, and I heard that word of pain. I don't know exactly where it went off here. Looks like on those Boar Boys. But the Night Goblin Shaman's got to be careful. Wah being popped now. Goblins trying to fight off this light cavalry assault, save the Doom Divers. The one Doom Diver, it looks like, will be bailed out. Another brutal breath attack into the blob here, though. Savage Orc Biggins, thankfully, were not fully contacted by that. Did get the Boar Boys. And the Goblins, though, a lot of Greenskins units having leadership issues and being routed off. Both players on their power spike. The Dark Elves will last longer, though, with their murderous prowess. And suddenly, Malekith drops down, turns things around against the Spider Lord here. Night Goblin Shaman definitely taking some damage, but he's got plenty of HP to kind of soak in this engagement. Still almost double the HP of Malekith, even with the damage taken there, so that is significant. If he can take down Malekith, perhaps get back in this game, but a nice rear charge with the other Black Dragon, and it looks like the Goblin Great Shaman's done for. Nice, nasty Soul Stealer just to finish things, really put the nail in the coffin there, and that's going to be army losses for Greenskins. Wow, quick one. And it does indeed go to a 3-0, which means I will be signing off for today. And wow, what a game. The Double Dragon is not something you see much these days, but coming in with it here, even against the anti-air of the Doom Divers here, and unfortunately just not able to fully protect them. And as a result, the Black Dragons do reign supreme. At least Malekith does on his Black Dragon. The infantry fight also. Corsairs trading really well into Goblins here. Arc Riders fulfilling their role of getting into the backline, shutting down its ranged units. Malicious Harvesters also a pretty solid unit overall. Get that extra Soul Stealer and the Word of Pain, and so forth. Very nice gear. So well played to both. Good stuff. Yeah, a lot of people like to lurk. That's totally fine. But anyway, thank you all so much for coming out. It's been an absolute pleasure. Even Star will take the series, and be sure to head on over to my son HW's stream. Let me grab the link for you guys. Yeah, big thanks and shout out once again to Moores, and really all of the referees and crew. It's been a group effort for sure. Aerocrastic, all the group referees, Jay Phoenix, Happy Puppy, Samurai Warrior. I know I'm missing a bunch, but you guys all have been awesome in helping to put this all together. It's been an absolute pleasure to cast. So thank you all so much. Yeah, been really an honor to be honest. And if you head on over, you can continue to catch these Sweet 16 games on, let's see, my son HW's Twitch channel, and he is an awesome guy, a great caster. If you like my channel, you follow me, you should definitely follow him on Twitch as well. Be sure to jump on over to that. Thank you all so much once again. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.